Hello. Sorry, I had my mic muted. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday, quote unquote. Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Let me lower my situation here. Hello, Connor, Finn, Liz, Fortuna. Thank you for joining me here on this slightly rainy Monday. Connor, thank you for the sub. Much appreciated. Why didn't I hear the notification for that? Oops. Hello, Thogale. How's everybody doing today? I'm going to jump right into it. I don't have a ton to show you guys this week because I took like the very tail end of last week off, and then this week is supposed to be vacation for me, so I'm not going to be doing a ton. Liz and I are going on a little mini vacation up north, and I'm just hopefully going to be chillaxing, which sounds really nice. But there's a couple things I can show you guys between last week's stream and this one that I think are worth showing off. The main one is that, oh my gosh, Jedi trees. Those of you who are not familiar with this mod, it's basically just a compilation of tree mods that is really beautiful. It's somewhat tricky because apparently in this compilation there are a couple of tree models that the author does not have permission to use or distribute. So if I'm going to include something like this in the full build, I'm going to have to manually replace anything we don't have the rights to distribute, but that doesn't seem that bad. It's not the highest priority, but we'll figure it out. You know how it is. Hello, Fish Pal. Hello. Oh my gosh. 7 Diablos. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Fish and 8 concrete certification. Hey! Nice, Red. Hello, Sacroletius. Hello, One Day Remains. What is up, y'all? Without further ado, let's go to... just forewarning you guys, some of you might have seen the little preview screenshots that I shared on Patreon this week. But it's really beautiful. These trees are kind of insane. I also have enhanced landscapes in here, which makes the forest just absolutely nuts. It's probably what I'm going to ship with. Just keep in mind that, again, my poor computer does not handle streaming and playing this game tremendously well. So it might be a bit choppy in certain places, but hopefully not too much. I've been experimenting with the different performance profiles, and it's actually crazy how much additional performance you can get. Let me go ahead and fire this up. I'm going to pause our beautiful Oakvale soundtrack, and then I'm going to crank up the levels, because everyone knows Skyrim is very quiet. Hello, Chromosome. Hello, Jesus from Bethlehem, Derpius. Witchell, first time catching you on Twitch. Oh, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Witchell. Armand, he's kicking around somewhere in, the annals of Ultimate Skyrim history. There was a reason that I stopped doing Season 1. I needed to work on some other stuff. We can always bring him back, who knows. Is it hard to start as a vampire? I'd say so, Fish Pal. It's definitely not as easy as becoming a vampire at an appropriate level, that's for sure. Did you embrace 3D trees and plants? I haven't. Also, Derpius Kitty, this Jedi Trees compilation does have some of the 3D trees and plants, but I'm telling you, it's even gnarlier than that. It has a lot of the 3D trees and plants. It has some models from the Book of the Dead trees, which are just absolutely gorgeous. Hey, JS Brando, how you doing? And Shepherd. Hello, Shots. Hello, Milk Toasting. I'll spend some time. So basically what I wanted to do on this stream was show off some of the new trees. I thought that would be fun just because it's really, really gorgeous. Like, stupid gorgeous. The other thing that I wanted to test was the first-person combat animations. Those of you who are kind of following animation stuff, it's kind of been the year of animations for Skyrim mods. And a big new name on the scene is this really cool first-person animation mod that is trying to emulate the style of first-person combat that you see in like Vermintide, the Fat Shark series, if you are familiar. I feel you, Derpius. That's actually the cold region trees are generally verts, as far as I can tell. They're kind of like verts trees with the snow that kind of rests on the pine branches and like brings them down a little bit, which I like that part. I like the concept behind the trees. I'm not a huge fan of the models themselves, but I don't think it's tremendously difficult to swap out the models. It's just what's difficult about it is that because the creator of Jedi trees does not have permission to include any of the assets that he is distributing with this file, what I would have to do, and that includes not just the tree models that are from the game. I think it's a Plague Tale that he took some of these models from. So those we really can't distribute in any way, shape, or form. As far as the other models that are included from other mods, that I can source. What I would have to do is basically rebuild the mod from the ground up, utilizing the models and assets the proper way, like we do with everything else, which is not... It's not a terrible amount of work, I don't think. It's also a bit outside my realm of typical expertise. There's some elements there that I'm sure I'm going to have to learn about. And again, it's not... Something like this it's not tremendously high priority compared to some of the other things that are still left to do. So I'll treat it accordingly. But I'll be working on it here and there, I'm sure. Because it looks so beautiful. I cannot stress to y'all how beautiful this is. Also, that means that we won't be having the distant LODs, because I don't have Dindulad turned on right now. It's not generated for these new trees. But you'll see what the dealio is. 3 Dragon fight was intense. That was a really fun... That might be my favorite episode of Season 1. That was a really fun time. 7 Diablos. Yes, there is a... I'm actually using the special edition port of enhanced camera. It's like an unofficial port. It's called improved camera. It works really, really well, and I have no complaints with it. The only thing that is an issue, and it's not the mod's fault, is that the card games that I have in taverns don't interact well with it, so I still have to figure out a solution there. Hey, Osana, how you doing? Yeah, Chromosome Vac, would you mind sharing the link to those screenshots in the chat if possible? I don't know if there's going to be some sort of auto filter that might stop you, and if so, that's totally fine. But I really like those screenshots. I mean, I guess you guys are going to see it now, so, you know, you can just stick around that way. But I really do like those shots in particular. Yes, I have looked into expanded Grimoire shots. We get a lot of requests for that one, and it seems like a pretty cool way of expanding spells for the special edition version. I think that's an area where we have to be careful, right? Because if we add... I mean, I don't like adding things that aren't necessitated, right? I've done that a lot in the past. I still do it sometimes where it's like, oh, let's add this mod, like it does this, and then I find out from a gameplay perspective, I'm not really plugging a gap or enhancing anything. It's more just like more for the sake of more. And I think Expanded Grimoire doesn't really do that, from what I understand. It's more like a genuine, bona fide expansion of kind of mechanics and philosophies that are in the game in terms of magic. So I'm pretty excited to check it out, but I haven't actually used it myself. And I'm also not the best point of reference for exactly... I need to play more mages, because my point of reference for what mage gameplay needs is a little lackluster compared to people who play mages more often, I'd say. Thank you, Chromosome, by the way. But I hear such great things from people who I know are big ol' Requiem heads. So I think that it'll be a good fit, if I had to guess. Also, this is odd. Oh, there it goes. More streams, different Skyrim stuff, other games, whatever. Sort of, Fortuna. I am basically at this point sticking to the one a week so that I still have time to do development at the moment. I'm probably going to expand the amount of times that I stream and the content that I stream once I have Ultimate Skyrim in a state where I can legitimately play a character from week to week without worrying about the files kind of falling apart because I'm changing the builds so much. But otherwise, I'd be super down. We will see. Also, yes, Sacroletti, Simon Magus just started streaming not too long ago. It was like, I want to say within the last month. Also, where's my... Oh, just because Skyrim's so quiet, I needed to turn it up. Thank you, Ice Fan. That's very sweet of you to say. Let's start. Should we start a new game or should I load? I just don't want to have to set up MCMs and everything. I was using this one as a test save. But it's going to be kind of broken. A little broken, maybe. I don't think I've really... Here, let's just start a new game because I haven't really done any MCM automation or settings on that one anyway. So we might as well start a new one. Yeah, shots, bound weapons. I love the concept of bound weapons so much. I wish that they got a bit more attention. It's cool. Does Expanded Grimoire touch bound weapons in a significant way? Or you weren't talking about Expanded Grimoire. You were talking about... Oh, you were? Yeah. Okay, so that would be really cool because I love bound weapons conceptually. I wish that there was a bit more you could do with them. I wish that you could, like my perfect implementation of bound weapons would probably have some element of player choice as to what the bound weapons, what attributes they had. Maybe if you could adjust your because I mean the cool thing about bound weapons, right, is that, or bound armor, it's you're conjuring your own weapons and armor, and I feel like you should be able to tweak attributes and elements of the bound weapons and armor according to the situation, right? I thought that would be really cool. So we'll say. Can't really stay, dude. Just want to ask your goal to get Skyrim running the same as on Old Room, same setup. Sort of Witchell. I would say, to me, I consider the special edition version of Ultimate Skyrim basically a sequel. It is taking all of the design philosophies of the first one and carrying them into a new experience while also improving on the experience by, just me utilizing all the skills and things that I've learned since building out the first one. So there's a lot of the first experience that is present in the second one here. There's a lot that has been pared away. There's a lot of different prioritization in terms of features. There's also a lot better graphics, I would say, for those who care about that sort of thing. Just wondering if it's worth buying a PC for. That is definitely a personal call. I mean, I personally would say so. I hope it is. I'm working to make it something that, would really justify that sort of purchase. I wouldn't say, if you can afford a new PC and you're trying to indulge yourself, I'd say go for it. But you don't need to get a new PC for Ultimate Skyrim. We're trying to, if anything, this one, the second or the special edition version, will run better on whatever hardware you already have than the first one does. Need bound weapon swings. Cost Magica. That's an interesting balance, Sacroletius. I like that milk toasting. Okay. Will real estate be an SE version? Very likely eventually, Fishpal. Not in the first version, but real estate is one of those big ticket mods that I've really worked hard to try and make room to include. I have a lot of plans that real estate, or it's like real estate revamped or redone or something like that, that you would... I would want to use it as like a focal point because it seems like it would allow for so much cool kind of role playing and stuff. So short answer is yes, if it works the way that I think it's going to and hope it will. Is Ultimate Skyrim going to be focused mainly on 1080p? I suppose so, Chromosome Vac. The UI is all built out for 1080p. Hopefully you won't be able to, or you will be able to switch to higher. I was going to say you won't have issues switching to higher resolutions and having the UI scale. I think that'll be the case. But, I mean, all the stuff that works, all the performance profiles that are, possible on 1080p are designed to, help with that. It's all, it's whatever resolution you really want to use. Separate profiles for graphics options. Yes, 7 Diablos. Why is it so hard for me to pronounce that? There's going to be performance profiles for the innies and also different E and Bs. Also, let's do a character here. Yes, graphics card prices are nuts. Why do you need a mod to play permadeath? I find a lot of people have a hard time kind of limiting themselves to it, right? It's like, well, I could keep going. All right, someone give me a race and a name. A race, a name, and a gender. Whoa. Thank you for the follow. Seven Diablos. And Ice Fan. Sorry, I missed that somehow. And Shot Caller Gang. How did I miss all these? Orc Male Mabalock. There you go. Oh, Nathaniel Powergooch. I saw that one first. Oops. I didn't see it first, but it was written first. Okay. Khajiit. And we're going... I do like Nathaniel Powergooch. That is an incredible name, Fortuna. I think it might have to be that one. I'm sorry, Aosana. Next time. Yeah, micro centers are the best. There's one micro center in Irvine in Orange County. That's the closest one to me. Yo, body. Like playing female characters. Female Khajiit. Presets. Ooh, it's like a tiger. A tigress. There she is. Whoop. Beautiful green eyes. What other presets we got? Excuse me. I just ate a handful of walnuts. This is my breakfast for today. Ooh, this one's cool. It's hard to decide. These models remind me of like Second Life jewelry. Steve Brule. Yeah, micro centers are cool. It's so sad that that Fry's Electronics is closing. Why is it? It's like sometimes WASD goes the right direction, or like I don't know why. It's like sometimes I use it. Maybe if I go like this, it's like why do some of the key presses push the menu to the left? Who can say? The UI is a nightmare in Skyrim. We all know this. There we go. Tigress lady, and her name is going to be. Oh, whoops. No. What was it? Nathaniel Powergooch, and she's a female. Which makes it cool. Oh, this is why. I have got my controls going for some reason. Hello, Rust. How you doing? Jesus, Witchell. Of course not. Do what you feel. Maybe it's enhanced camera. So like enhanced camera sometimes does some stuff like this. I don't want to lay it at the feet of enhanced camera or improved camera if it's not its fault, but I have noticed like some wonkiness. Oh, whoops. I missed the opportunity to make her super buff. You just do both. Just make sure your phone's either waterproof or you don't drop it. And then you can watch all the YouTube you want. Interesting, Shepherd Boy. On AltSky LE, it kind of makes sense to me because there's Skyrim souls, right? Get rid of that for my full immersion. Set up my UI just really quick. Matter of time. Presets. Load user settings. Thank you. Don't put your phone in the microwave. Why not? Oh, yeah. Skyrim Souls. It makes sense to me why that would happen. Not on Special Edition. I haven't noticed that like a ton. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does. Turn this bad boy on. Exit the menu. Yeah, see, I don't have Skyrim Souls on here, so I don't know why it would be happening. Yeah. Requiem's installing. Adding items to iEquip. Yeah, I know it's a big problem, Shepherd Boy. Let me pop open iEquip. Whoop. Edit mode. Load up my preset. Uh-oh. Do I not have something else happening? Why does it think I'm not? That's not good. Did I break something? Oh, wait, no. There it goes. Doesn't help that the easy wheel menu keeps popping up because it's set to the same key by default. A gloomy day. So I think it's one of these trees that we're not allowed to use. Excuse me, sir. It's like either this one. I'm pretty sure it's this one. This is apparently a model from the game A Plague Tale: Innocence, which looks really cool on its own. These are Aspens Ablaze, if y'all are familiar with that mod. I think they're kind of optional in a sense because I had to install like a separate thing. But I really like Aspens Ablaze. I'm not sure if I prefer them to the enhanced vanilla trees because of performance. I mean, I think the models are just absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so it's like these are illegal trees, literally illegal trees. And I'm pretty sure it's either this one or both. In which case, like this one too. And if that is the case, like, I think they're really cool. It's kind of strange to me how they're placed all next to the aspens and stuff. I don't really know why. So that would be something I would swap out for certain. Yeah, they're great models for sure. It's strange to me that they're placed in this location. That's like what I've not really understood. Why is this working this way? Enter edit mode. Maybe because I'm messing it up with the enhanced wheel. Alright, well, let's just fix that really quick then. Or the easy wheel, enhanced wheel. Available functions, configuration, wheel code. I'm gonna make that, I don't know, this button. Because I don't plan on using it. Let me see here. Easy wheel. And what else can I adjust while I'm in here? And get less intrusive HUD in here. General settings, load personal preset. Yes, please. What else do I need? More HUD. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. Please apply my settings. Yeah, I agree. 7 Diablos. Enter edit mode. Come on, baby. Maybe my it's my number pad. Nope. We good. Load preset. How did you get your lore? You talking about the LODs, red boo boo keys? If so, I haven't bothered yet. So, like some of the LODs are kind of strange. I think that Dindulod 3.0 is going to help with that a lot because of the way that it generates the 3D LOD trees and other stuff. So, the fact that the billboards are kind of messed up in Jedi trees, we should be able to see some of that in a quick second. You guys will see what I mean. Come on. Look at that globule of rain. Okay, so there's eye equip, and I got less intrusive HUD, and then what else? More HUD would be good. Presets, load user settings. That's like mostly there. And then also AH hotkeys. But I need, hold on, before I do that, help hide UI. Alk FE1 forward D, whoops, D61. Give me like, let's say 3 of those. Then it'll work. AH hotkeys, accept, configuration. Oh wait, how do I turn it on? Oh, it was here. Activate, there we go. Interesting, Sacriladius. Also, hello, Monique. You didn't go out the tree, still pop as I walk to the trees. I would have to mess around with it. Yeah, I feel you, Shepherd Boy. It bothers me, though. The crafting interface in Ellie really needs some attention. It's getting fixed on Special Edition. As far as the LOD for the trees, red boo boo keys, I would need to mess around with it. Like, generate it a bunch. Are you generating the Ultra preset? Or how lucky you replace the illegal trees with 3D trees, massive purplish and green aspens. I'm not a huge fan of those, Derpius Kitty. Also, thank you for the follow, Draken Dovahkiin. They're pretty cool. I spammed LOD mods. They look great now. There you go. That's, there's the solution. Okay. I need my preset. Where's the wizards? Equip sets. Maybe it's here. Equip set overview. Can't remember where the load. Oh, there it is. UI hotkey. Load and replace. Please. Thank you. I think that's mostly it. Immersive HUD also needs a couple settings. Activation, iHUD hotkey, key press toggles. I wonder if I even need to do that. Let's put it there, just in case. Crosshair there. Sure, link all Sky UI widgets. And that probably will do me. I wonder if I use the hide UI key. Oh, fuck. Take notes, I forgot. Oops. Oh, take notes. Options, controls. Open journal can be this button. There we are. Much better. There's my HUD, and what is it? There's my compass. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my god, I think the heater's on in here, and it's very hot. I'm starting to sweat. And I'm going to save it just right quick. Alright, let's take a look at some trees, everybody. What do you think? Oh, wait. Gosh, there's so many things that I gotta fix. Not fix, but just adjust. We really need to automate this. Character, NPC, visual effects, frost. No, thank you. Cold breath, yes. Bubbles, no. Wetness, off. No camera visual effects, please. Is no bueno for me. Para me. Hello, Bambi. Nice, Sacrilegious. Building billboards or trees were meant to be. Septum paper money form. I'm probably going to replace it. Either is in there right now, or I removed it. 7 Diablos. I can't remember. Oh boy. But I'm probably going to swap it out eventually if it's still in there for Coins of Tamriel, just because the paper money looks a little bit out of place to me after experimenting with it a lot. But definitely having abstractions of like smaller denominations I think is important. Oh, and of course Smooth Cam. How can we forget? Excuse me, Smooth Cam. Presets. Load. Everyone's favorite slot. Frebus. I think that's good. I'm sure I'll remember something else that needs to be fixed or adjusted or whatever it is. And in the meantime, I'll save it again. And let's clear up this weather so we can see what the trees look like. There you go. So you can see it's already quite beautiful. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This tree overhaul, it kicks things up a notch. Like, frankly, it's actually nuts how much better it all looks when you combine it with enhanced landscapes and Falkreath. Like, if you think this is impressive now, which, don't get me wrong, I do too. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, but just wait until you see, like, Falkreath and Riverwood. It is just stupid nuts. So this right here, these are Matthew's trees for sure, I think. I'm, like, pretty sure. From when I tried them back in the day. I also don't have my sharpening on right now, which I'm supposed to run through a reshade, and I'm not doing it at the moment. So you have Falkreath grasses, which is just, oh, beautiful. The God Rays are, well, it's vanilla God Rays, I would say, and it's comboed with Cathedral Weathers. Right? Do the trees in vanilla sway with the wind? They do. They actually do more than with tree mods, Fortuna, because a lot of the models that are used in the tree mods, maybe it's an issue with rigging, or I'm not super sure, but the branches don't have as much animation on them as the vanilla ones do. So whenever you swap in tree mods, you're kind of, you know, trading out that element, but they still move around enough for my taste. It's like not something I ever really notice, right? So here you go. Here's some beautiful aspen trees. We can walk around. So you can see, like, just imagine this, right? But imagine it without, like, this type of model. And, like, it's not, they won't be gone, but they'll be replaced with something else. Because I believe, I'm pretty sure these are the trees that we do not have the rights to redistribute. So I will make sure of that. Which means that the rest of this stuff, like, I'm pretty sure these trees are from the Book of the Dead, which has full permissions, and it is, in general, like, the vast majority of what you see here we will be able to use. It's just that I have to rebuild it. I know some of the other Wabbajack list authors are working on, like, similar tree edits because we've all been so impressed by these tree models. And you know what makes there's two things that I think make the biggest difference. The first one is the variety, and the second one is the density. Let's talk about the density first. Density, obviously, the more trees you have, as long as it still looks realistic and whatever, the fuller the forest feels. That one's easy. Anyone, I think, would go, yeah, a denser forest makes for a more kind of foresty, fantasy, immersive experience. And I think for the types of trees and the types of biomes that these are intended to emulate, this degree of volume is appropriate, right? Like a lot of these pine trees tend to grow in clumps like this, like what you see there. I'm not a treeologist, as you might say. What are they called? Arborologists, something like that. But I do know that... Oh god, are you an enemy? Well, you are an enemy. Did you just not see me a second ago? Asshole. I dodged your fireball, not that one though. Stop. Oh my god, could you not? Can I, like, please pull out my... Oh, I have my sword out. Why can I not see... Oh, you know what? Something's wrong here. Whoa, I guess the first-person animation overhaul is doing something? Here, I gotta kill this lady. Sorry. Oh yeah, these are powerful fireballs. Can you please leave me alone? I've done nothing to you. Oh yeah, I also... Ow. You guys see that? I just got shot in the gut. You do not know who you're messing with, my friend. I am Nathaniel Powergooch. Hoot! Nope. Gotcha. Oh yeah, that's another thing that I did, was I messed around out. Oh, I don't have any stamina. I was like, why are my buttons not working? Force Av stamina. Lots.
Please don't kill me.
He got so intimidated, oi, by my my sudden amount of stamina. There we are. All right, so let's see what's going on in first person here. So it doesn't show me having a weapon. It looks like the animations are playing. What? Something is up. Not just with the animations, but why did the wait button just pop in there? Great Peninsky, this is Jedi trees, so it's a compilation of different models. So I don't know exactly what's going on here. It could be a strange interaction with the first-person mod, and then also enhanced camera. I'll have to mess around with that on my own time. I just threw it in because I wanted to test it out on stream. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's either set up properly or working properly. How is the forest so dense? That is... Oh, I'm sorry. That is Enhanced Landscapes. Arboriculturalist. Did you look at Aspens Ablaze? These are the Aspens Ablaze aspens, actually. Or for the most part, they are. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, figuring out how to generate LODs is something we were all talking about. And then, of course, there is the issue for us where we cannot distribute some of the files in there because we don't have the rights to do it. The owner or the creator of Jedi Trees does not have the rights to do it, but it's one of those, like, Discord, like, no one's bothering to go after it, right? Thanks, Regaromi. Anyway, here's your aspens. Here's your kind of rift forest. Personally, I think that it looks... chef's kiss, and this is like the not even my favorite part of the different trees. You'll see what I mean in a little bit, but they really feel like a very thick, voluminous forest. So anyway, yeah, so that's the volume, right? And we were going to talk about the variety as well. I think that the variety in trees is probably the biggest effector of realism for me personally. I think that, it's like if you ever walked around in a forest, IRL, it depends on what kind of forest, of course, but the tree variety for me is what really lends that level of realism, because trees, in real life, every single tree that you see is unique in some way, right? Even if they are the same kind of tree as the trees next to them, they are still unique and they're visually distinct. And I think that having this variety of different tree models kind of gets that feeling across, right? So it's absolutely huge. And this is what you see comparatively less of it with something like Enhanced Vanilla Trees, which is still a beautiful, beautiful mod. And I think that in places like the Rift with enhanced vanilla trees, you still get like a fair amount of variety because there's several different color aspens and so on and so forth. And of course, you can kind of get this effect by like placing trees carefully. You can rotate them, you can adjust their scale and things like that. But let's say the pine trees from enhanced vanilla trees, right? Those trees are very similar in appearance to each other, and you can see it especially if you're like up somewhere high up and you have like the tree LODs off in the distance. It kind of just looks like the same tree copy pasted over and over, right? And yes, I am near Shorestone. Hello, brought to you by Q. Yes, let's go to Falkreath, shall we? I wish my first person was working. Oh well. C'est la vie. Shall go sometimes. Let's make a save just in case, because I don't know what's going on. There's some wonky behavior. Let's pop into Falkreath. Exterior 01. Falkreath and Riverwood are my personal favorite. Morthal looks really great too. Pretty much anywhere that has trees looks really nice. The semi-exception is kind of in the northern holds near like Dawnstar. And that is because the tree models are not adjusted. It's a couple different things. One, the tree model itself is verts like snow-covered trees, right? Which can be a little tricky. I think that the concept is really cool. I think the model itself is kind of showing its age, right? Is me you started 1 hour before. Oh, well, it's daylight savings must have been Bambi. So for me, it's 12 noon. I hope that's correct. My time has been all donked like ever since. I hate daylight savings time. I know that's not like a hot take or an original opinion. I just don't get it. Like, I don't know why we need it. It confuses me. I'm always feeling like it's like, I don't know if we're losing an hour, gaining an hour. I don't really know what the difference is. I know that like sometimes I get an hour. I know what happens when daylight savings time rolls around. I just don't understand why. Like, why we still need it. Anyway, here's Falkreath, which to me is just, I mean, if this looks cool to you now, which, I mean, I think it does, just wait until you see what the heck it looks like when we go into the forest proper, because it's straight up, like, insane. The density, the tree variety, the models themselves are just, it's a totally different ball game. To me, it lends the forest the feel that I think, at least me personally, but I think a lot of other people too, always kind of hoped for in Skyrim, right? It's this realistic bit. What about CG4 trees and bushes? Got some nice models. Doesn't replace anything, just adds more. I haven't used it myself, Derpius. I have seen it. I can experiment with it. Also, these Origin of Forests 3D grasses are just absolutely gorgeous. I need to reduce the size of some of them, at least. But anyway, let's go deep into the forest. I have a mod doing that, but I don't think it's working for all of them. Yeah, so the undergrowth it's not even patched, actually. It should look even nicer once it's patched, because they do overwrite each other. But you have 3D Forest, Origin of Forest, whatever it's called. Origin of Forest 3D something. And it creates these beautiful kind of like, uh-oh, what is this now? You guys see that? I just got like a hardcore chug. I don't know what happened. But anyway. Daylight savings was originally for farmers. Right. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. It's just like, do we still need that? I mean, I guess they're still farmers, so I don't know. Blah. Yes, and it's something about the time change. Just, it's like, the other day, it didn't even feel like I got that much less sleep. Or like it did feel like that. I didn't get that much less sleep than I usually do, but it just felt shitty. I don't know. So yeah, if we go deep into the forest here, this is where it starts getting just really nuts. House performance, what areas you find. This is a super taxing area. This might be the most taxing. This or like the Rift. My computer, again, is not tremendously powerful. When I'm running around in here and I'm not streaming, I would say on average I get, with this high preset, I get something like anywhere between, I don't know, 35, 50, 60. It really just depends on like how the shadows are, right? But this is on the high preset. When you bump that down, you really start to see frame increases. And that's also with this gnarly EMB, right? So it's definitely a performance impact, but it's well within the scope, in my opinion, of what is acceptable, especially because my computer is not, you know, the strongest. I do not use Cathedral Mountains. I use Majestic Mountains. Ooh, this is cool. Rainy Falkreath. I love like the E and B, like slight water reflectivity. I could swear these grasses used to be smaller. Like these bad boys are just massive to the point where it like gets in my face. Oh god. Oh jeez. Oh wait a second. Okay. Well, now the first person animations are working. I don't know what was happening there, but it seems to be working now. Ooh, I like this a lot. Here's my block. It's hard to see. I hope this doesn't kill the compress. Yeah, the textures and like just the general detail on the leaves is absolutely nuts. Really, I'm trying to create this feeling of like you are in a dense ass forest, and like, yeah, the block I'm not super stoked on. Like, I want you to feel like you can get lost in these forests, like legitimately, right? Or that the grasses like cover up wild animals. The one thing that does bother me is like from a player experience perspective, I don't want these like being up so high like on my face, right? I don't like it when it's clipping with the camera that way. That's something that I would like to fix. Also, it seems like there's at least one animation that's maybe not playing here, or maybe it's just going so fast I'm not seeing it with my frame. Like this kind of stuff, I just don't like it clipping through my face is basically the thing. These first-person animations are, I don't know, like, it seems pretty cool to me. I don't like this. I don't like that at all. Someone has released a model lower the size of its grass assets. That's really cool, Paris. I thought I had it installed, and in fact, I know that I do. I just don't know why. I swear it's like maybe because I have certain other mods like running right now that the changes are being overwritten somehow. I'm really not sure about that, but I could swear that when I was like experimenting with it, they were smaller for a time. Also, it's like now my sheath weapon or sheath button doesn't work. Very strange. There we go. Like they were smaller, and it seems like some of them are smaller, but some of them are still huge. So that's something I would like to fix. Lowers the minimum size. There are more shorter ones, right? Well, it does feel like something that I bet I'm not alone in this, right? So I imagine like this size perfectly fine. Even a little shorter would be okay. I just don't want this where it's like clipping through my face. It would be one thing if Skyrim had a system for like moving away grass like as you walk through it. I really wish we could do something like that. I think it would be super cool. But until then, there are solutions, and I do imagine that the author themselves will be pretty interested in addressing it if enough people are doing that. That would be super cool, CP, if the raindrops were less frequent. Uh-oh, what happened here? A dead pack of Imperials and a prisoner, maybe. No, just dead Imperials.
Put that down.
Don't tell me what to do. Oh, I also have enhanced ragdolls. I saw this the other day on the Nexus, and I was like, ooh, this looks nice. So you have like these bodies just kind of like crumpling. Oh, it really crumpled there. Like, watch, this lady dies. Blah. They really just crumple in on themselves. I'm not sure if I like the effect more than the ragdoll edits that we already had. Whoa. Something about the first-person animations. Improved camera, like, I really like it a lot. I like being able to be on horseback in first person. It's just that there's so many different things that it does not seem to... Or it seems to create, like, little quirks, like weird quirks, right? They're fun with the weird hands-up bug. Hands-up bug. Interesting, milk toasting. Yeah, so, like, let's see them. It looks... I feel like I could get used to it. I do like the general feel. Let's try some other help. Steel mace. A69C3. 1. Let's also get a Elven Greatsword. Let's get a two-handed weapon. Cool. we will favorite all these. Also, we can just walk around. I don't like using Force Weather 81A to clear the weather because it's not one of the cathedral weathers. So like this still looks perfectly fine in like default lighting, right? But the cathedral weathers themselves are like the real ticket. So like we have to wait a little bit for one of the weathers to kick back in. Clearing the weather in that fashion, it's not like instating the like a sunny weather. It's like peeling away all the different weathers, is my understanding. So it still looks fine, but the lighting gets even better. Ugh, God, these plants. Don't get me wrong, the effect is beautiful. Like you look at this and it's just like it's absolutely nuts. But I don't like having stuff in my face. With spellcasting in first person, I don't think that they affect them. Let's see. I see like that where it's like sometimes I go to put the sword in and out and it does this. Like, ugh. Not a fan personally. Let's try out our steel mace. Let's see how this swings. It's like the problem is like I can't tell if it's weird because of or immersive camera, or if the animation itself is just that way. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to tell. Try some forward power attacks with the swords. Let me see. Ooh, that's cool. I like that a lot. Ugh, I really don't like that part. That is way better, I think, than the default power attack. Also, I'm really not used to hearing the Khajiit voice lines. So here's your crazy Falkreath pines, right? This to me is the real star of the show. Oh shit, I'm on a road. I didn't even realize. Yeah, the Khajiit voice lines are weird. Is that just me? Thank you, Panlucan, for the follow. Also, Regaromi, if I missed that one. I think I did. But just like going into first person, turning off the UI. Thank you, Oz Micah, for the follow. This shit is just insane to me. But again, it's like I don't know if it's the first person animations themselves or if it's because we have improved camera. That's a female voice, at least for that voice line. They're just very, yeah, see, it's like, okay, so that's power attack, but it's like, it's only working some of the time. It feels very weird. It's like hard to describe. So you can see there the LODs just popped in because they're not generated at all. You get these like beautiful fallen logs, right? And also now I can't sheath. Something's weird. I use immersive first person. Isn't this wacky? I really want to be able to use improved camera, but it is one. I mean, I don't know. Resi on our team, Resident Evil, has been experimenting with immersive first person camera versus improved camera, and she says it's really what would that be? IFPV. She says it's really cool, so maybe I can try that out as well. It's just, the problem with any of this stuff is, of course, I only have limited time to spend on certain types of things, and I have to prioritize. And you all know that I'm trying to get the first version out to you as quickly as possible. So it's a question of, like, is it really worth messing with when there's other things to do? Right? Hello. Currently making my own mod pack / list. Any tips on what to pay attention to? Dallas? Oh, wow. Sorry, hold on. I am way behind on chat here. Let me... I don't know how streamers do this, man. Dagger animations are pretty out there. Interesting. Let's try them out, Greg. Does the tree mod have an ESP? Oh, yes, it does, Resi. Hello, Mr. Mudcrab. Ah! See, like, that one's not playing, but it looks like it's clipping with, immersive or improved camera. It doesn't look like it's the thing's fault. Stop. I hate you, Mudcrab. Jeez, how much health does this thing have? Because I'm using a sword? You done. I need a blunt weapon. Let me get a dagger. Help. Steel dagger. As for making your own mod pack or list, tips to what to pay attention on. I'd say the most important skill for someone building a mod list is conflict resolution with Xedit. There's a lot of different skills that'll be useful, but the main one that you will need to familiarize yourself with is learning how to resolve conflicts in Xedit. What am I doing? Player add item steel dagger. A6A15. I'm sure there are some tutorials out there. I know that Gopher does stuff. I'm pretty sure Gamer Poets as well. Like, wow, okay. I'm like a Naruto ninja. This is interesting. I'm like this. It's like a... Oh, look, the little finger twitch. Okay, so... It's pretty cool. It is definitely different. It's like you'd have to... Oh, okay. That one must have been hurt already. Either that or this is a really strong dagger. It's definitely odd. It looks like they really also... God damn. Now we have an actual weather in place. You guys might be able to see what I meant about the cathedral weathers like kicking in. It's like this is an actual cathedral weather. The Force Weather 81A is not. So we've got like some fog here. We've got like a particular lighting scenario. This is really cool. I don't know if you could like selectively disable them. This is just it's very Vermintide, right? Which is cool if that's what you're going for, but Vermintide is a very stylized form of first-person melee combat. And this kind of makes me feel a bit like a Naruto ninja, which I just don't know if that's the right fit. Exactly. It's definitely worth trying out. I wish that you could... Oh, I mean, this is the all-in-one version, so you can selectively go through and pick different ones. So if there's ones I really do like, I'm just remembering that right now. Yeah. You can do that. So I suppose I could always fix those up. I would just like to... I mean, really playing with these right now, it's not really doing them a service, a proper service, because of first-person camera, or whatever it's called, improved camera. Hello. It's also kind of weird when you, like... Oi. Stop. It's odd going from third person to third person when it's like, okay, so my knife is here. Switch to first, it's right there. So I'm like, whew. Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Shots. Hello. Doing some hunting? Let me guess, this is enhanced landscapes. Oh, no. This lady doesn't seem to realize that this is not nav meshed. That's odd. I mean, I haven't patched any of those. Enhanced landscapes would need probably a lot of attention. It's what adds in like a lot of these types of things. I just threw it in there because I wanted a quick and easy way to get some dense forests, right? Yes, that is simple lock on. Oh god, these grasses. Enhanced landscapes is super cool, honestly. It's it just really makes the forest feel nuts. But it does make a lot of world space edits. So if I include enhanced landscapes by default, which is still kind of a toss-up, there is a good chance that it will need many patches and edits as different versions go along. I'm gonna kill you. Well, apparently when you're sneaking, it doesn't like hiding the UI. What you doing over here? Hello? Oh. Who's fighting whom? Nice work. Tall Scar the Wanderer. Bro.
Hello there, fellow traveler. One itinerant minstrel and wandering wastrel at your service.
Hand over your valuables.
All
okay.
right, then.
See ya. Bunny rabbit. Hello. Hello. Oh my gosh. He's so cute. That bunny rabbit model is like so fuzzy. Planning on releasing this mod pack anytime soon. Oh yeah. Ideally as soon as possible. But it's going to be the early access version, 0.1.0, because there's still so much I want to do with it. That's just, it's a way for us to get it into your hands and get the playtesting data that I'll need to improve it. Oh, you got poisoned. Ugh. Maybe a spider around here somewhere. Maybe they killed it. So I'm trying, but I'll be taking this next week off because I've really just been burning myself out like crazy. Which is why stuff like this, it's more like for fun, right? It's like a little fluff. I think the visuals do make a huge difference, and I'm pretty excited about them, but I'd rather focus on kind of the gameplay stuff that needs fixing or finalizing, and then that way I can really focus on getting it all out to you guys. Let's go to Riverwood so you guys can see what that looks like. Let me try the Greatsword as well. I want to see what these animations are like. I almost want to save it and then quit and then what's it called? Like turn off. In fact, you know what? I think I am going to do that. Give me a second here. I'm going to save it and then I'm going to turn off the improved camera mod and then see kind of how things perform at that point, right? I think that would be a good idea. Just because otherwise we can't really, like, it's not fair to the mod. I can't get an actual gauge of how it performs. Oh, thank you, Rezi. How much of Old Sky LE will be in the SE release? Yes, Shots, that is exactly correct. I would say the core gameplay is the same, but enhanced with more features getting added down the line. There will be some of the content mods that are in LE, like Undeath, are not going to be in there by the first build. Likely to be re-added later. Probably my focus at first will be some of the systems changes that I had planned for LE before I transitioned. So the like stuff like real estate, stuff like jobs of Skyrim or whatever we end up going for that way, stuff like, you know, being able to build things in various places is a big priority for me, I would say. Also maybe some of the expansions of mechanics like religion and, you know, vampirism, werewolves. I think that personally I would rather get all that stuff sorted out and then start working on like additional content, if that makes sense. Let me get this running too. Hold on. Improved camera. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this. Hopefully that doesn't kill my... There's no plugin, I don't think. Right? Okay, let's try it out. Yeah, there's unfortunately no Astronaut Crossing for Special Edition. Yeah, me too, Plot. Oops. I would like to just enjoy Old Sky. Yes, so Astronaut Crossing, I'm hoping to replace it. Now, I think that David might be amenable or might... He's mentioned a couple times that he would like to port over like Astronaut Crossing composition, which would be really good. In the meantime, there was a mod called Campfire Unleashed. It's like LVS Magics or something like that. That really seems to add a lot of stuff within the campfire placement framework, which I do like. So that could be a potential replacement if we need to do it. Yes, Plot, I agree. For me, the gameplay is more important or higher priority than content additions. I would rather iron out those gameplay features and add a bunch of cool... I would rather take... Like, the world itself is already packed with so much stuff to do, right? I would like to focus on enhancing that element, just really making the gameplay systems that are in the game super, super fun and interesting. Another big focus for me, maybe even like the primary focus, like post-launch, is the new player experience. So that just means accessibility. It means making the thing super easy to install, right? That's obviously been a huge priority for us with the launcher and with the performance presets. Having it perform well, having the character creation experience not suck is a big one. So I don't want players to have to mess with a bunch of, you know, mod configuration menus. I would really like to overhaul the character creation process a little bit so that it's a little bit more straightforward. Maybe that would be like adding something like I think the MCM menu for Skyrim Unbound is like cool. It's fine. It's, to me, just targeted at an audience that is already familiar with Skyrim and already kind of knows how it all works and can, you know, adjust these esoteric settings and things like that. I don't really want any of that. I would just prefer if you hit new game and everything's already configured and you got to make a character and then you got to choose your like class and like starting attributes and stuff the way that you used to be able to, right, in classic Elder Scrolls games and RPGs in general. And then I want you to be able to choose from like starting scenarios. That's like a big priority for me, kind of like Live Another Life does, right? Being able to, thank you for the follow, the hamroids. It's pretty good. I really like the idea of these like narrative starts, right? Like just a list of things that are like backstories for how your character got to where they are starting in the game world, right? I really love stuff like that. I love, because like Skyrim Unbound, it's beautiful in terms of the freedom that it allows you with your character, but it doesn't, like, it's not as strong narratively as something like Arthmore's Live Another Life, right? Where every option that you have to choose from in terms of like starting location and starting scenario has like a little bit of a backstory to it. Nothing that's too crazy, but it's something that kind of explains like why you are in the place where you are and what you were doing like right before that, right? I really like that stuff. So I would like to just make character creation a lot more understandable and fun in that way, or what I think is fun. And then the other big priority. So as you guys can tell, there's a lot of stuff to do for special edition. I get overwhelmed myself with it a lot of the time, but as Plot says, a lot of stuff can be done by the community the moment the alpha is out, and what that includes for me is the wiki. The wiki, I think, is going to be huge for helping new players figure out what the hell is going on in... Oh my god, Rex the Butterfly King, where did you get that emote? That is amazing. Shots, I did not even see your message about the wiki until right now, but yes, that is a huge priority for me. So you could even put like, let's call it accessibility, not disability accessibility, although obviously that is hugely important as well, but accessibility in terms of installation, accessibility in terms of knowing what the hell is going on in the game, and, you know, providing a way to familiarize new players with all the crazy mechanics and stuff. I love it, Rex. It's beautiful. And accessibility, meaning just not having to fuck around with a bunch of in-game settings. I just want you to be able to jump into the game. That's lower the barrier to entry, sure. Accessibility in terms of performance, like making it so that anyone, no matter what your hardware, there is a performance option for you that will hopefully it'll be a good balance of performance and visuals, unless you're picking the potato mode because you have a really, not powerful computer, but that should be an option as well, because no matter what your hardware, I want you to be able to play. Yes, permadeath as an optional would be super cool. I would also include death handling as a systems change. So like once we have these accessibility and like lowering the barrier of entry, barrier to entry elements, I would say that's priority 1 post release, and then priority 2 will be, so imagine these as like big lists of features, right? And priority 2 would be the gameplay enhancements, systems enhancements. For death handling, it's very difficult because most of the players in this area try some form of like teleporting the player from where they die into like other locations, which is really cool conceptually. That would be mods like Ashes or like Combat Consequences, or even the classic death alternative, right, is a huge one as far as that goes. Okay, let's see these first-person animations. Okay, so they look a lot, at least the greatsword. Let me get a point of reference here with the regular sword. swear sometimes it's like it's eating my clicks. Or maybe I just gotta get used to it. It seems pretty good. Let's try there's a standing power attack. Stab. Backwards power attack. Apparently I don't move anymore. Sideways. It's kind of weird. Why do I keep opening my thing? Elven Greatsword. Let's see. So that one's cool. It's just, I don't know. There's a standing, or a side power attack. It's interesting that one I can't even back up on. Oh, well I can. Okay, so something seems off there. I can do it in third person, but I can't do it in first person. It's different. Big issue with improved camera. Head bobbing messes with picking items up. I actually have all of the head bobbing effects turned off by default. You can see it's kind of back now that I've turned off improved camera. I like just bouncing. That might be the animations. I honestly can't tell. But like if I put this away, you can see that there's not a whole lot of head bobbing going on, because that personally just kind of makes me motion sick. Why does it sound like your character is switching sex on the fly? It could be, let's see. Is that just does anyone ever play as female Khajiits? Because I never do. That could just be her. That sounds like female. What about this one? Oh my god. What is happening with the frame rate? There we go. Things clip without head bobbing. Did you edit something in the indie to fix that? Typically I don't clip through anything. I have a... Oh god. Wait. It's balance. Balance is key. You know, I gotta be honest. So I set up my stream so that the capture would capture Skyrim directly, because I was hoping that would improve the performance. I don't think it does. It's either the same or it's worse. Interesting, Barian. I don't get it when I'm not streaming, and it feels like it's loading is the issue. It feels like I'm coming up against like a new cell, and it's having to load in the new models. And my game does not load very well because I actually have all of my Skyrim on an external solid state. So the solid state helps, but the fact that it's external, I'm sure, is not great for loading performance. Combat gameplay overhaul is a big maybe. Make me dinner. I like a lot of what it does, but I don't like the balance. I don't like that I can just use a shield with two-handed. It just feels like there's never any reason to do anything besides two-handing every weapon that you have. There's no downside to it. That's my concern there. Check the blocking animations for two-handers. You know what? Maybe I need to run Nemesis again after... Oh, that's like... Alright. I swear these used to be smaller. I have the mod that is reducing the size of the grasses, but it doesn't seem to be working on at least some of these models. I remember them being smaller earlier. Boom, baby. It definitely... it's hard for me to tell 7 Diablos, because it's like... It's different than what I'm used to, right? Which doesn't necessarily mean bad, and sometimes I try to allow myself some time to like get used to things like that. Because like that... So it's definitely way different than the default animation style, we'll say. Let's go check out Riverwood as well. What am I... God, I am so terrible at reading chat and doing stuff at the same time. And yeah, it's like there's... So I really like Vermintide. No, Derpius, that would be... Or sorry, Calamity. Wow, that messed with me. That's the lighting of this particular weather. It's kind of like a foggy, light day, right? And see, why is that happening? It's like... Something, it's not configured correctly. Or it's conflicting with something, because I'm now, even without improved camera, it's like I'm I can feel my inputs getting eaten. I like when I went to draw my sword right there, like it's like there's no animation for unsheathing or something. I could run Nemesis again, like you said, plot, but I don't know why it wouldn't be working. I don't know. We'll see. We'll do it just to be sure. If you clear, to address what you were saying, Calamity, if you like clear the weather, you get a little bit more contrast. It really just depends on like what the day is set to, because like every day is a little bit different, right? Sometimes we'll get super bright, super contrasty days. Other days it's a bit more somber, you might say. It could be. I mean, dynamic animation replacer is in here. Double stamina random battle axe thing. Milk toasting, are you talking about the animations or are you talking about CGO? Let me see. Here, I'll save real fast. I'm gonna save, and then you know what I'm gonna do as well is, yeah, I mean, that wouldn't make sense to me why those would conflict. Thank you for the follow, Sitka. I am gonna quit out of here. We'll run Nemesis once, and then I will adjust my display so that you guys can see what I'm doing. There we are. Okay, just right quick. We'll see what happens. Battle Axe has a random chance to do 2-hit attack and power attack. Looks cool. Does use stamina twice. Oh, I don't like that. I could see the appeal for vanilla, but not in Skyrim. I want direct control over my my animations or my attacks, you might say. Yeah, I was gonna say, Sitka, I was like surprised to see that the follow. Doesn't that happen with like a lot of people for Twitch, right? They inadvertently, like, accidentally unfollow streamers, and then didn't they recently add a like a quality of life feature where it would confirm whether you unfollowed someone or if you wanted to? Thank you for the sub. Make me dinner. Much appreciated. Yeah, see, why is it not... I'm not getting a notification for that. It's not showing up on stream. Let me see. Why isn't anything working today? Can someone please explain this to me? Like a subscriber at Drunk Hunter. It's like it's broken. It's stream elements is... Oh, there it goes. Except for it's very slow and I don't actually see... It's not showing a name. What the hell? Oh, stream elements. What's going on with you? Reload overlays. Maybe this will do it. Let's see. Because it still says latest sub is Connor. He'll look at Lux. You're using ELFX. I do not use ELFX as of now because of the performance. But, I don't know. Could be worth looking at. Me releasing this into one single mod. It's a mod list or a mod pack, O'Malley. There we go. It's going. It's just a bit late is all it is. Okay. Well, that should do it. Let us see. Yeah, daylight savings just broke. It's like Y2K, you know? I do like ELFX. It's the lighting as it is now is fine for me. It's fun to experiment with other lighting setups for sure. But there's, like I said, those other priorities would take priority for me. Thank you for the follow, Seraph. Now we're back, it seems. The accessibility priority 1, gameplay systems priority 2. And like Plot says, I'm hoping that what I can do is once the entire community and once my team has a baseline release of the early access Ultimate Skyrim SE that they can build on top of, I do think we're going to see a lot more stuff like this happening where like the community kind of takes it upon themselves to experiment with different combos and mods and things like that. And a lot of that has happened on Legendary Edition, and that's how a lot of features ended up making it into Legendary Edition in general, right? Is that the community kind of tests it. I just don't have the time to do all of it myself. Between all the other stuff that I have to do, I have to be very. It's shown me more than anything, the development of Ultimate Skyrim, how difficult it would be to build an experience of this scale as either a one-man team or a small team. There's just so much to do, right? And only so much time in the day. So it really helps having the community be able to test different mods and report their findings back, or even just have that baseline so they can patch things themselves. Sometimes people will hand off patches to me and be like, hey, if you're interested in using this mod, like I made this patch, for it, and stuff like that. It really helps a lot. Yes, and what Sacroletus is saying is true. ELFX, even like enhanced lighting for E and B, which is just, it's not individual light bulbs and stuff like that, the way that ELFX and like relighting Skyrim and those kinds of mods are. ELE is more of like a general lighting template editor, and you need to take any, of course, this is the whole issue with building a large scale mod list, right? Is you have to integrate everything with each other. So if you have new cells that are added by mods, they're obviously, unless someone patched them, they're not, or unless they're dependent on the specific lighting mods in question, they're not going to have the lighting changes. You would have to forward them and set them yourself. Oh yeah, Finn, straight up. Concerned Ape is a personal hero. Because like, you look at all of us, it's like, I do this full time. You guys help within the team like an amount that, at least to me, approximates like a part-time position, if not more. And it's still like, so, I mean, it helps too, or doesn't help rather, that we don't have, my brain is like splitting apart. I'm sorry. Curse you, daylight savings time. But we don't have collaboration tools, unfortunately, for, like Xedit or plugins and things like that. That's why we need this baseline version for everyone to be able to work on. But even then, it's just there's just a lot to do, and we have to use time efficiently. I mean, that's how I started out. Make me dinner. Old Mally. The Ultimate Skyrim started as it was never ever supposed to even be something that other people could install. Thank you for the follow to Great Donkey and Old Mally. It was just going to be like, if you guys saw my intro video, right, on YouTube, the reason that that's so confusing, or like kind of mentions features that aren't in the actual game itself, is because those features were going to be like video, like just stuff that I was going to do manually for like my video series, right? Like the Let's Plays. That was back when I was doing like video essays. I was trying to make that into my main thing, kind of like stuff like Joseph Anderson or like Dunkey even. Matthew Matosis, all the greats, you guys know. So I wanted to do stuff like that. And in between, I wanted to have like content in between, like Let's Play content, so that I could get frequent uploads, because I thought the algorithm preferred it. And so I just was going to play, my own personal Skyrim build that I've been working on for years, as like many modders do. And when people responded to that more than any other form of content, I was like, oh shit, like maybe I can make this, installable for other people besides me. And that was before, any sort of automated installation existed in this particular scene. So I had a big guide website, which was a lot of fun to put together. And then Methril and I started working on Automaton. I say both of us, but really it was him. He's the one who built and coded the entire program that auto-installed mod lists for Skyrim. And after that, that was kind of the precursor to Wabbajack. And now Wabbajack has like, probably dozens of lists. I'm not sure exactly how many, but so many lists And now we can just, it's simpler than it's ever been to, obviously there's still room for us to improve on like, we're building a launcher to help users with that stuff. I would say that like the auto installation tools are still like, the barrier of entry is higher than vanilla significantly, right? It's not quite as plug and play as that, but it's getting really, really close, and I think it'll only continue to get even closer. And it's all just in favor of kind of approaching like a Minecraft style of modding where we can, you know, just install these big old mod packs with relative ease, and people can just play. They don't have to learn how to be rocket biologists, right? Okay, so let's see here. Okay, well, I'm doing like a backwards power attack after running Nemesis, and it's not moving me. That could be by design. Yes, Calamity. It's I would say Halgari was building kind of his own similar tool or something like that while Meth had already been working on Automaton, and then Halgari was working with Methril on Automaton, and then at some point Halgari kind of made his own tool, and that is Wabbajack. Boom, baby. Okay, so these are about the same. I think it's the same. These are new first-person animations. Also, hello, Nicholas. Sorry, I just am now seeing this. I want to thank you for US. Close one I've never had time to invest into. We were just talking about that. The time is the scarce resource, is it not, my friend? Of course. Thank you so much for saying that, Nicholas. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to play and to share your experience. Back out into the forest to kill some wolves. So, I don't know, like, it's pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, ow. Alright, see ya. Yeah, and then you get stuff like this where it's difficult. Ouch. Oh, I don't have God mode on. That's dangerous. Take a bite out of me. Also, the blood decals on my screen. I just do not like stuff like that. Or, like, I like it if it's around the periphery, right? If it's, like, Call of Duty Jello around the edges of my screen. That I can deal with. But not when it's, like, right in the center. Script update. That's fine. Chance on decal. No. Screen blood. Enabled. I'm going to turn that off for now. It'd be pretty easy to edit that, though. City and town location integrating holds. Yes, that would be, you could call that like the next batch of things that I would like to do once all the gameplay systems are like in place. I would really like to expand. Hello, I'm gonna kill you. Oh, no, you ran away. I'm going to expand. There's something odd about that. Expand the various locations, right? Making them feel large and like big old cities and giving you basically just a lot of fun stuff to do with the new gameplay systems and mechanics and stuff, right? Whap! Where's his wolf friend? Hello? Ugh. I don't know, it's really bothering me, having these things clip through my face this way. Where else can we go? We can show off, we've looked at Falkreath, we've looked at Riverwood. We can go. Is open cities definitely something? Yes, I have no plans to remove open cities from the build as of right now. So it should be, I just really want to keep, yep, there's that unsheathing animation, same thing. It's still donked. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on there. I can't, again, say that it's, you know, the fault of the first person animation mod when I have not tested it by itself. We have like, what, 400 mods running here, so you really can't definitively say without testing. Open interiors would be wild. That I don't think we're ever going to see, just because it's... You could even, like, occlude it. You could do stuff for the performance. It's just such an effort to do all of that. Even more so than open cities, I would say. First person anime, a lot more than vanilla now. I've seen them, but they feel much more controlled. Yeah, well, and they also, so I have a hit stop mod, and it's just like, it's undoubtedly better from a gameplay perspective in my mind. Or like, maybe you can make the argument, I don't know. It's just, if you guys have ever played Vermintide. Oh, I'm sorry, bunny. I just wanted to look at your super cute model. Let's pretend he's alive. I'll resurrect him after this. Look how cute and fuzzy this bunny rabbit model is. It's so cute. Look. See? Now it's like you're totally all good. Nothing wrong at all. Same as you were a moment ago. We'll just ignore that. Thank you, Fortuna. Mod is providing the sounds of the forest animals. That would probably be sounds of Skyrim. It depends on which sounds you're talking about. Proof Cam probably broke the save permanently. Oh, that's an interesting idea, Derpiest Kitty. Let's find out. Let's make a new save just to test. Just to test. Main menu. Although I don't think it runs... Does it run like a script? It's possible. Yeah, it's like some Pet Cemetery shit. Any plans for things like pets, like a cat's life? Hell yeah, 7 Diablos. That sounds great. There's like... So if you've watched my streams or like followed my work for long enough, I feel like you probably get a pretty good sense of what sort of things I like, don't like. Stuff that I really like is if you've played Daggerfall, right? Or if you've ever played any sort of action RPG / life sim hybrid, that's what I'm going for. So if there are like gameplay mods or like mods adding features that make sense for someone to be able to do in like a deeply simulated world, right? Generally speaking, and like, you know, it's balanced or it can be balanced or whatever. Generally speaking, that's something that I'm also going to enjoy. So for example, if I lived in Tamriel, I could get a cat. If there are cats, I could get one as a pet, right? Ipso facto, adding in a mod that lets you get animals as pets would be like fantastic to me. And anything that like makes it more fun to just exist in the world as your character, right? I love stuff like that. I also just, it's secretly ignore the little diatribe that I just went on. It's because I just love cats. But it is true. Everything I just said is a true reflection of how I feel. Skyrim court system. That would be cool. It would certainly be more interesting than the court system as it is now. Which, there is none. Or getting hunter style, like, animals, tamed animals is something that I've always enjoyed or liked. And the cool thing with Skyrim is that there's so many mods out there that add stuff like this, right? I feel like if I continued working on Ultimate Skyrim, there is just so much fun stuff that we could put in here. And especially once the community has a build that they can work on as well. So the community, I'm sure, can work on things and we can integrate them or tweak them. It's really, really exciting. The kicker, of course, is just I need to be able to make enough money to where I can subsist on it and continue saving for my future. Because right now, that's like kind of not really the case. I'm hoping with Special Edition that once people have something to play and once the community can start playing it, I'm hoping that'll kind of snowball like Patreon and Twitch and things like that. I'm also trying to do set up like some side hustles IRL, right, that don't have anything to do with Skyrim, that just kind of add some supplemental income and allow me to pursue this stuff without being so stressed about, you know, where the income is coming from. And of course, everything is available for free, so it's a donation-based model. If I can gear that, then I can, in theory, continue adding stuff for a very, very long time. I would just like to make a gameplay experience that is unlike anything else that we kind of have out there. You know what I mean? The idea of this Elder Scrolls famous feeling, this promise, right, of this beautifully simulated and presented fantasy world that you can exist in first person. It's got fun action gameplay. It's got fun life sim gameplay. It's got fun just stuff to do in the world, a million different things. I want it to be like, you know, if you can think it, you can do it. Want to build a house? Go and build a house. Want to open an inn? Want to purchase an inn and then, you know, collect money from your tenants and own a stake in the business? You can do it. Like, want to become a fucking necromancer who like sits in a tower all day long and like studies ancient creepy texts in the hopes of expanding your dark powers? Like, go nuts. Like, just a million different things. Oh yeah, let's pop in here. Yes, Alt Sky basically D&D for a video game. I mean, as close as possible, because that's what I love about D&D, right? Is the freedom that you have. Like, I don't want it to be necessarily a what's it called? Just an action game. I'm gonna call him Frevis. It's my man. Oh, and that's still happening, which is weird. I wonder if it's the first-person animations, because this has never happened where I'm getting knocked out of the menu that way. Doesn't help that Alt Sky SE is coming very late to the SE mod list scene. I suppose Calamity, but it's like from where I'm sitting, the SE modding scene is hitting some really major strides. Like, I still think it's, I mean, I would need to look at numbers to say exactly, you know, how many people are playing, like what sort of things that they're playing. But I think that the modding scene is really kicking off in some important ways, especially with the release of we've got a landscape issue here, especially with the like auto-installable mod lists and like all these animation mods. There's just so many things I feel like that are coming out now that at least have me personally very excited. Yeah, I love stuff like that, Derpius. So you can see, so here's the same thing that was happening before with our animations, like when we started. It's like it needs to load in somewhere, maybe, because it fixed itself when I warped to Falkreath. Yeah, absolutely. Doing anything to the faction quest lines. Any mental impacts from reading the black books. They render everyone else insane. The black books I don't really know about, Rex. I have not really thought about it. By are you doing anything to the faction quest lines, do you mean more than what we've done on special or on Legendary Edition? Because sort of, I suppose. But the faction changes and enhancements. God, look at these flickers. I really need to repeal enhanced inns, unfortunately, or Perseids inns and taverns, because I don't want to go and manually fix these types of things. I really like. I am always interested in expanding the factions in meaningful ways. It's one of the things that I really focused on for Legendary Edition. I wanted there to be, you know, real incentives to what's it called? Why is that not capitalized? Miss Lady. Real incentives to join the factions, right? And also making it way harder for you to just progress in them, although Requiem does that a lot. The short answer, yes, I suppose. I need a... Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, something like Alt Sky on a large scale would be amazing. Some permadeath. Yeah, that would be tough. I like the concept very much. It's very difficult designing an MMO versus designing... I mean, it's difficult to make any sort of video game at all. However, there's a lot of stuff that we can do in Ultimate Skyrim because Ultimate Skyrim is a single-player game versus like a multiplayer MMO. When multiplayer... Like, I'm trying to build like a sandbox life sim, right? And the issue with building a sandbox MMO, so there's a lot of elements of sandbox gameplay that I think are really, really fun, that most people would agree are super fun. A sandbox that just, you know, it's like a web that you can pluck one side of and then it reverberates out and causes changes in other parts of the web. I think most people would agree that that's a pretty cool concept, a pretty cool simulation of an actual world. When you introduce other players, and especially a lot of other players, it gets way, way more difficult to correct for or control for the experience that your players are going to have, right? Take, for example, games like EVE Online or Albion Online, other kind of like sandbox MMOs. In Albion Online, to use as an example, you will have player factions form that can effectively deny content to other players, right? How do you adjust for that in a game? It's so difficult. How do you balance around that? It's like one of the most... Because the problem with the sandbox fully simulated world is that the more you simulate a world, the crazier stuff players can do that will affect other players. So I don't know. Having it single player is what's up, dude? He's meditating. I like that.
Don't even think about it.
Oh, sorry. I wonder why. Is it because I'm... All right, equip it. And why do I have my Khajiit claws now? That's odd. It's like I'm still the Khajiit. Do I need to like restart the whole game? Some odd stuff happening here, boys and girls. I guess we'll try it just to be sure. That's testing, right? Yes, Sacrilegious, balance in an MMO. It's so difficult, and especially in a sandbox MMO. And having a single player, I don't know if I will ever be an MMO builder. I mean, not only is it also like one of the most difficult things you can do as a game designer, but yeah, so like Make Me Dinner, that's exactly the type of thing that I'm talking about. Hemorrhoids, is the YouTube link broken? I'm sorry, it should work down at the bottom if you click it, or if not, you can just search my name and then YouTube, and I'm sure it'll pop up. But yeah, Shepherd Boy, I generally agree. Having a sandbox game with like a small amount of co-op, like imagine Skyrim, Ultimate Skyrim, but you could play with 3 other players, we'll say. So you can have your own little D&D party. That is fine. You can still balance around that. You can still have a lot of fun with it. You don't have to... The kind of wide-ranging balance considerations that you have to think about when you're building like a huge MMO scale sandbox, those don't enter in really when it's just you and 3 friends and you guys are going around in the world is still kind of like allowed to exist around the player, even if it's not like focusing on the player for what's in the world, right? Like level scaling or whatever. Yeah, it's tough, 7 Diablos, because on the one hand, it's like, okay, I generally agree with you guys, and like Sacrilegious, I like my ideal kind of MMO is a sandbox where I have kind of full freedom to pursue whatever skills I want and just kind of learn at my own pace. Just something that's kind of like a simulation in that way, right? It feels like a world that you're inhabiting. It's like Project Gorgon would be like my ideal like skill system or whatever. The problem with a sandbox MMO is that if you just naturally, because of how it's designed and because of what the sandbox typically imparts in terms of design, it's going to reward players who have more time to spend. And that's an issue for balance because sandbox MMOs are usually in a big way PvP. You are competing. It's just like how it is in the real world, right? When there are resources out there to be gathered or collected, and you have more than one group who wants the resources, there will be competition for those resources. And naturally, a player who spends far more time playing the game will have more of their own resources and skills and whatever levels or whatever it is at their disposal to dominate the landscape. So from an MMO designer perspective, how do you design a sandbox MMO that it's like you want that sort of thing to be possible, but at the same time, how do you also still provide content for more casual players who can't afford to spend that much time playing the game? Do you even try? I would say that a lot of the time you have to, because the other part of an MMO is that, I mean, also I think from a design perspective, people want to make their game playable for as many people as possible for the fun of it, because it's like, you just want to share a fun experience. So there's that element of it as a designer, but the requirement of an MMO to be able to attract a large player base absolutely exists, because MMOs are expensive. There's competition. It's very hard for MMOs to subsist on a suboptimal funding budget. It's harder than other types of games. They require more funding than other types of games. So it's tough. And there's not even like a single answer or like a best answer. It's very interesting. It's why, so even though a sandbox MMO is in theory my ideal MMO, I don't really often have the time to invest to make myself like competitive. And also just, I don't know, there's like Albion Online, I think is super cool conceptually. if I'm playing an MMO, I kind of want a full 3D world to explore, right? So that's a hard one. I don't know, just what it does is very cool to me. It's just such an interesting question. How do you allow a sandbox where players can still gain power and still experience kind of the benefits of improving their characters and winning over other characters without alienating your casual base entirely? How do you still give casual players content that they can engage with, that is fun and meaningful for them, that allows them to engage with the mechanics and systems of the game in a meaningful way, while also accommodating the more hardcore players who are spending a lot more time playing the game, and you want that time to feel rewarded as well? It's a very difficult question. Humans arrived, all the megafauna died. History of the American continent. Sorry, I've been bloviating for a very long time and catching up on chat. I love Larian's single-player RPGs. I love their stuff. And yes, having like a little bit of co-op is great. That is an interesting idea, Seven Diablos, is having a sandbox MMO that incorporates VR so that your skill... I mean, sandbox MMOs generally, I feel like what they have to try and do, or what a lot of them try and do, is they give you additional tools that you can use to improve your chances of like winning battles, or like having economic superiority or control. But they can't make it so... I don't know. It's very tricky because you have like BDO and stuff like this where it's like, look, your gear score very largely like the difference between two players of a similar skill and one who has way better gear is like pretty significant. It's just so, I mean, we could talk about it for years and years. The difficulty of balancing all that stuff. Also, I'm going to sneeze. It's going to... Excuse me. I have heard of Rust. Rust seems very cool. Rust, it's the same thing where I'm like, if I log into a game and if I'm supposed to build like a base, and then while I'm offline, someone can come along and blow up my base, I just don't know if I'm ever going to have that. Like, I don't have the time as just an adult with a job and other obligations. I don't know if I would ever have the time to be able to like really be the player who that game is targeting, because I don't have time to like defend my stuff, and sometimes it's a pretty shitty prospect. Like, it's like, why would I spend time and effort building something up if someone can just come along and destroy it all while I'm not even there, right? I actually don't know if that's how Rust works, but I think so. But I don't know for sure. And then here on the other side of the fence, right? Yeah, I see you guys talking about theme park MMOs a lot, and like a theme park MMO fixes a lot of these issues, quote unquote, because it's basically like saying, hey, no matter how much you play, as long as you were able to play sometimes, you can expect like kind of a similar experience to what everyone else got. You're not missing out on anything. You're not being gated from content by players who are able to spend way more time than you. Like, you get to experience it all as well, which is cool on paper, and can be a lot of fun. It's just that it definitely takes away from that feeling of like inhabiting a world. It's more like a theme park. It doesn't really feel like you're in a world that you're affecting in any way. You're just kind of like a kid at a theme park, and there's a bunch of actors around you who are all pretending to have stuff that you do affect them, so that they can create the illusion of interaction versus actual interaction. Which kind of sucks sometimes. Like, I like theme park MMOs well enough sometimes, but I do find that they don't keep my interest as long, because I eventually just start feeling like almost like patronized, for lack of a better term. I feel like it's like hold on, I wanted to answer this question. Okay, D2 Pancakes, natural endpoint for Ultimate Skyrim, setting up a studio or joining one. It very well could be. What I would like to eventually do is, I mean, maybe one day I join a studio who is making something that is I would want to make as well. And, if they find my skills valuable, that would be really cool. That's on the table. Or if kind of my personal dream is that I would one day like to grow Ultimate Skyrim into something large enough to where I get, like a user base who trusts me well enough to like fund my own like independent project, like from the ground up, right? So that's an option. Or maybe I would get like kickstarted, funded enough to have like a small team to like build a game that kind of takes a lot of my design philosophies, what I'm trying to do with Ultimate Skyrim. I get to make it into like a full-fledged game. That's obviously a whole different ballpark. I think that really either one, I would learn so much from either approach. Like it would be, I'm not used to working with like a dev team that is working on the same thing as me like all the time, right? So it, like that would be super cool. I'm sure that I would learn so much. Really, what I would, my primary concern is that I love games, I love game development, I love game design. I just want to, my dream is to make games. I want to be able to continue making games in a way that makes me enough money to live, and to save money and, have my family meet all of our financial goals, which I think are modest. I think we're ambitious, my wife and I, but we're not like insanely so, or like I don't know. I feel like what would make me happy in terms of making enough money is modest-ish compared to perhaps some. I would like to just be able to do that while making games. Like that's the end game for me. That's my dream. That's what I would like to do with my life as far as I can tell right now. And whatever allows me to do that is and there, of course, there's many different ways of going about doing something like that, right? It's like I could make my own game and sell it. I could work for a studio and help them make a game. We all make a game, we release that, and we get money based on that. There's a million different ways to do it. I think as long as I'm learning, as long as I'm financially secure, and as long as I'm making games, I think I'd be happy. That is kind of the way that I look at it. And the other idea that I was going to say, also, I'm sorry I'm spending so much time. I really do like interacting with you guys, so I apologize if it's not enough content for you. Hopefully you enjoy it too. The part about theme park MMOs, the kind of analogy or like little joke that I always make to like my friends whenever we talk about this is like, my issue with theme park MMOs is that I just feel patronized. I feel as though it's like I go into a new zone. I've told this probably in the past. It's like I go into a new, let's say I'm playing WoW, and I go into a new zone, and the local townspeople, the NPCs are telling me all about the ails that their village is experiencing. Oh, we've got zombies out in the forest, and they're encroaching upon the land, and we need to clear them out. You got to go kill 15 of them, and eventually you work your way through the quest chain, and it's like, oh, the necromancer up in the castle is the one who's making all the zombies, and like go and kill him, and like we'll reward you. Our whole village will come together and give you our ancestral sword because you saved the day and you saved our lives. And that, it's like, as long as you're able to suspend your disbelief and kind of participate in the story, it's like, oh wow, this is really cool. Like I feel like a hero, or I feel like a whatever. It's kind of a bummer when you go to kill the necromancer, you kill the necromancer, you come back, you get your quest reward, you get your special sword, and you see a bunch of other people running around with the exact same special sword, so you know that they did it too. And you also know that the necromancer that you killed, if you wait 15 minutes, he'll be back again. He'll be there, and nothing. He's not doing anything to the village. The zombies he's making aren't doing anything to the village. They wander around in their spawn location, waiting to be killed by the next person to come along and experience that part of the theme park, right? So it's tricky. Because obviously, again, that design is so that everyone can have the experience that they're trying to impart, and that they're not gated in the way that sandbox MMOs can gate you. Like if sandbox MMO can come along and be like, hey, here's the wilderness, anyone can kill each other out here. My guild, who is comprised of members who, many of whom spend 8 hours a day playing, we functionally control this area, so if we don't want anyone to walk through here, we are going to straight up kill you. You will not be able to cross through here. It's like, on theory, in theory on theory in paper, that's awesome, because it's like, holy shit, this is like a real world with real factions made up of players who are doing what they want within the world. So great. from a gameplay perspective, when you're a casual player, like, is that fun? Is it? Maybe it could be, but I bet it gets frustrating not really being able to do anything. It's kind of like, I mean, even theme park MMOs have elements of this, right? Where they, like, you can't do some of the highest level content or like the raids or whatever because you don't have enough time to like invest and stuff like that. Also, do you think making Alt Sky as a new separate game would be easier than modding it? I don't know. Make me dinner. I think that there's pros and cons to both approaches. So that animation still doesn't work. Okay, I'm a Nord. If I put this away... Yes, that's fine. Okay, so I'm punching now, so it's not the Khajiit claws anymore. Do I have a... Ugh. So my back... I mean, it could be that this backwards power attack is not malfunctioning in first person. It could just be that it's supposed to be like this, right? Where you don't move. So that's always an option or a potential explanation. What was the one that didn't work before? It was like drawing my sword. Yeah, so drawing the weapons is still causing issues of some kind. Look at these. My gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out. I just won't bother to do it on stream because it's not very exciting, I'm sure. Yes, I agree, Sacrilegious, that OSRS Project Gorgon. Also, I've been looking into Worm Online. Worm Online looks super cool to me. Well, so to answer the question about would Alt Sky be easier to make as a new separate game, there's pros and cons. So the obvious pro to building my own game from the ground up is that we can make it exactly as we want it, right? The system's design, just the gameplay, everything from the ground up, you have total control over what it's going to be, how it's going to be like. There are obviously a lot of elements of Skyrim, like just because Skyrim was at its core similar to the kind of game that I'm trying to make, but it's also very different in a lot of ways. And so in some cases, when trying to build Ultimate Skyrim on vanilla Skyrim, we run up against, issues, right? Like we run up against engine limitations or just like the game not being designed to be the kind of game that I want it to be and the kind of implementation problems that causes therein. And in those cases, you end up spending so much time trying to make the game work differently than it was supposed to, so that you lose time there, right? The other side of the fence is that the fact that I'm modding a pre-existing game that already has a ton of content and a ton of awesome shit in it, on top of the fact that there are already so many mods out there that people have created in order to bring certain features to the game, that is a huge, huge advantage. Because otherwise you are talking about... Yeah, that's very weird. That was me unsheathing again. You're talking about building everything you see yourself from the ground up with no help or basis or anything. You're talking the visuals, all the visual assets, unless you're purchasing, visuals from the store. You have to make all the quests. You have to do all the writing. You have to do all the coding. There is everything that you get total control, but you are responsible for all of it. So either approach is sacrifices one thing for another. The reason that I chose to make Ultimate Skyrim to begin with was because I thought with my level of skill, the abilities that I have, and what I know is in the modding scene, it was the surest way to make the sort of experience that I was interested in experiencing. I love the Elder Scrolls. I've always loved the Elder Scrolls ever since I first played Morrowind as a kid. I think there's so much about what it does that appeals to me and informs my vision and idea of what a perfect game, not a perfect game, but a really, really fun game is. I love the world and the lore, and I love exploring it in first person. I love that I can interact with every little thing, and there's so many little touches that made me think like, holy shit, this is the most realized world that I've ever experienced. Of course, Elder Scrolls, as it's become now, is still that in a lot of ways, but it's also very different. It's a lot more casual. It's intended for many different types of gamers to be able to play it, even if they don't have experience with RPGs. There's a level of depth that is not a priority for the Bethesda Game Studios primary team, which I don't blame them for at all. I understand why they've made the game the way that they've made it. It's just gotten to a point where what I'm interested in is not entirely represented within the games that they're making out of the box, right? So I don't know. That's when it became time to like, well, let's see if I can use the Elder Scrolls as a basis, and then I will. Oh, that is disorienting. I'll make my own mods, and I'll add mods from the rest of the community. And then that's how I'll approximate it. And that's still my belief. I still think that where I am right now, both in terms of skill and also my finances and just the opportunities available, I still think that working on Ultimate Skyrim is the best thing I can be doing to create the experience that I want to make. And that is also because I am lucky enough to make some sort of income on it. It's not a ton, but it's enough to where it basically functions like Plot said this to me one time, where it's almost like a paid internship, right? Where getting to work on Ultimate Skyrim means that I get to hone my skills as a game developer while also making a little bit of money on the side and hopefully gearing up for whatever the next step will be years down the line. Whether that's, making my own game from scratch, whether it's working for a studio and, utilizing the skills that I'm building here, I can't say, but I bet it'll be one of those things. And at the same time, that is only that's my personal, kind of project appeal of doing this. There's also oh my God, I cannot tell you all how cool it has been to work within the modding community, to meet all the modders who are producing, oh my God, hello. Oh, there's a wolf behind me too, who is blocking me. Wow, you asshole. Oh, game crashed. Man, I was about to do a whole spiel. I was gonna do I was gonna show a screen and just be the amount of work hours that are present. Just okay, we'll load it back up. But imagine that we're still in game, that it didn't crash. Can I please get an F in chat? The amount of work hours that are present in one single frame of Ultimate Skyrim, number in it really depends on how you define it. Number in the thousands, hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands in some cases, if you count weather and textures and gameplay and models and whatever, to have the opportunity to work with my other fellow modders within the modding community, to have the opportunity to meet them and to meet my team and to work with them, to have users and learn what it's like to have user expectations, or to have a community to interact with and build upon and set an example for and learn from. All of it has just been this insane learning experience that I am so grateful for, and I try to remember that too in the times when it's hard, because anything that you care about that is difficult to do, that takes a lot of work and effort and time, there are moments, of course, where it's harder to see the silver lining or the light at the end of the tunnel. When you're in X edit and you're just doing some monotonous thing for hours and hours and days on end. Sometimes it gets tough, right? But I don't know, that gratitude helps a lot. I had a friend say that to me recently. I think he's really right. And I just wonder, there's so many things that I cherish about the experience that I've had building Ultimate Skyrim, going on 5 years now, 4 or 5 years, that I'm so glad I experienced it. And I wonder if I ever would have gotten to, had I taken a different approach. I'm sure I would have had other experiences or whatever. I think the thing that, what I feel the luckiest about is that I'm able to do something here where I still feel like I'm learning all the time. I feel like I'm learning game development. I'm learning game design. I get to try out ideas and have them either succeed or fail, and like everything that you learn from that. I am learning again like what it's like to interact with a team, to like manage people, sort of, to manage a community, like all these things. Like I think that if I were in a position where I didn't feel like I was learning, or that what I was doing was engaging me, like that, just my heart goes out to anyone who's currently stuck in a position like that. That's the kind of shit where I just feel, that's why I like burn myself out and stuff sometimes, is because I really do feel so privileged to be able to pursue something like this, to be able to spend so much time on it, that I feel bad like sometimes if I feel like I'm not working the absolute hardest that I can, or that if I'm taking time off or whatever, or if I'm making you guys wait longer for, the next version or whatever. But I mean, that's like a whole personal issue that really you have to take the time to rest as well. Anybody does. But I guess at the end of the day, I just feel really grateful, that I can do this stuff, that I can learn and I can grow and I can do something that I love, because I love games. I'm like we're all sick gamers. We love games, you know what I mean? I think a lot of us have since we were kids. Other people have gotten into it more recently, fallen in love with it. Sometimes it comes and goes in waves. Sometimes like there'll be times we don't play a lot of games and the times we do. But for me, games are my greatest love. It's been my hobby. It's the first hobby that I ever had. I was playing games when I was like 5-6 years old. You know what I mean? My first console was a Super Nintendo that my mom got for me. I'm dating myself there. And since then, it's like games have been it. You know what I mean? And the fact that I can do something with that, the fact that I can make my own games and whatever, is just crazy. Let me see. I could definitely see the argument that Todd is changing the game for the better. He is certainly accomplishing the goal of bringing the experience to as many people as possible. I think that is almost inarguable. But yeah, see, like the Fallout 4 dialogue options, that's a bummer. It's just less of it just feels like, I don't know. I do wonder what sort of success might be achieved. I think about games like Dark Souls, right? Where it's still a really complex game. Let's say Dark Souls. Use this as an example. It's a very difficult game, and it's a very complex game for your average like casual player. And yet it's this wild mainstream success. So I'm thinking it's like, okay, well, this kind of shows that there is room for that in like the grand stage, the AAA stage, for something of that complexity or whatever. But as I say that, I also think that Dark Souls is also very accessible. The key here is accessibility, right? It's like allowing a player to, even if they don't understand the finer points of the intricacies, they can still pick it up and play it. And Dark Souls still fits that. It's still like the core pieces are not so esoteric that you can't just pick it up and play it as an average casual player. And I'd say like it took a lot of work probably for Bethesda Game Studios to make Fallout and the Elder Scrolls that level of accessible. Obviously there's a certain degree of depth that's been lost as a result, but like it is true that if someone, like, if players now tried to play Morrowind, someone said that in the chat, it would be tough. Like, I don't know. I wonder, it's like, what is a... I mean, I guess this is like what I'm trying to do with Ultimate Skyrim is like, let's take all the philosophical design decisions from a game like Morrowind or Daggerfall that I think are still really cool. And let's give them a coat of paint. Let's put them in systems of gameplay that are fun. Let's a beautiful graphical world, right? Let's make combat not suck ass. I don't know. It's like, it's very tricky. It's hard to imagine this type of experience. Like, what even is a modern Skyrim style RPG with Daggerfall and Morrowind level depth? I guess it's like this is what I mean. It's like that kind of game is tougher to find, or like, does something even exist that is that, right? Like, I have always kind of felt like, no, there's games that do a lot of that, like, very, very well, but not all of it. Like, not all the things that I would want to do. Like Kenshi, right? If you guys are familiar with Kenshi, that game looks so cool. I've finally started playing it thanks to Connor. And it does so many things where I'm like, this is exactly what I'm trying to do in Ultimate Skyrim. At least, like, a lot of what it does is like, okay, I want to do this for sure, but I want to have my, my Elder Scrolls first-person beautiful world, interact with everything. I don't know. It's crazy. I just like... Well, so like this idea, like Sakalete, is like this generation is all about instant gratification, which feels very shallow. Like, it very well could be. I think that there's definitely a different expectations of like, gamers today versus like perhaps in the past that are all shaped by their experiences. But I don't know. It's like, I wonder if it's that people just aren't interested in an experience that doesn't offer instant gratification, or if they're just, it needs to be like wrapped in a certain package, because like, think about how many players play like old school RuneScape and stuff. Ton of in-depth indie RPGs look 20 years old due to no budget. There's a ton of shallow, beautiful AAA RPGs, not much in between. Totally, Monique. I agree with that completely. Where's my old save? Also, I'm giving myself a headache from speaking so much. I do that. I mean, I can see that argument too. It's like, it feels a bit disappointing if your favorite franchise gets watered down to fit the masses. So, that's why I guess we make stuff like this and we adjust it to our liking. But also, it's like, there's the fact that, like, I was thinking about this the other day, like, the fact that millions upon millions of gamers, of players, have gotten to play Skyrim and exist in like there's so much more to the Elders. Like, the gameplay matters a lot. It's the core element, of course. But when I think about, like, I think back to what intrigued me as a kid, right? Like, what made me fall in love with the series. Like, the gameplay of Morrowind kind of sucked ass. Like, even at the time, the combat was kind of weird. Like, it can be cool, like, once you kind of understand what the systems are and you start understanding how to make them work for you and that kind of thing. But I would almost imagine or argue that as a kid, what really stood out to me, what really engrossed me, was the world, right? It was the lore, it was the locations, it was the characters, it was the feeling of existing in Tamriel, we'll say. And of course it was the gameplay stuff too. It was like, you could factor under the umbrella of gameplay things like having to join factions because you couldn't get resources reasonably otherwise, or like having, cities and towns offer like very useful features and stuff that you could do with them. So it's all intertwined. It can't be like neatly separated. But I think about how cool I find like the world of Tamriel, right? And I think about how, because of the increase in accessibility, how many people who would not really understand or be interested in Morrowind as it's presented have gotten to experience the world of the Elder Scrolls because of like Oblivion and Skyrim's enhanced accessibility. Like, that is something that even if you still prefer if the game would have gone a different way, like if the series would have gone a different way, I just think that is so cool. Like, see, it's like seeing, I guess, normies, right? Who are like, who know who fucking Hermaeus Mora is, or who know about lore stuff, or who have just played Skyrim and played Oblivion and have some concept of the different guilds and the different gods and the different Daedra and have gotten to exist in the world of Tamriel. I just think that is so cool. You know what I mean? Camping on top of the mountain outside of Satan sounds super fucking... Ring, I need to play your mod list, dude. I gotta revisit Morrowind. I'm feeling the itch. Also, I'm loving my forest here. Cyberpunk is a whole other unfortunate bag of worms. I would have been... It's like, if they would have taken like 3 more years at that game, I would have been perfectly fine with that. There's so much there that you can see the bones of something great. Yeah, that would be really cool, D2 pancakes. But even then, it's like, so like, you know something that bothers me about Skyrim and Oblivion, and it just, maybe this would be another one of those scenarios where like what I feel like would be cool actually wouldn't be that cool, but it's the scale problem. It's feeling like the world is so dinky, right? Like my dream RPG has like so much of what we see here, like in Skyrim, in terms of interactivity and like boots on the ground immersion, but is also like realistically scaled, so you get that next level feeling of immersion, and also you could either have like I think I would like a you know how in Daggerfall you can like Daggerfall Unity, I'm pretty sure has like mods where you can travel on foot and like fast travel is disabled, but you can like speed up and slow down. It's like how Kenshi is. If y'all have ever seen Kenshi, it's like you can be like, here's the world, it's pretty big. I actually don't know how big it is, 'cause I've not played it enough to like really get a sense of the scale. But what you can do is, it's almost like The Sims, where you can just like, or like Mountain Blade is like this, right? Where you have like a realistically scaled world, and you can just speed up time and slow it down. I feel like that's a really cool solution to that sort of problem, where it's like you still get to have the scale of a realistically sized game world without making it like a massive tedious chore to move through and to exist in from like a gameplay perspective, right? I just feel like that would be so cool. Also, welcome to Riverwood, everybody. Boom. Full immersion. That very well could be Charnbarian. That would be super awesome. I bet you're right. That would be amazing. Yeah, Derpius, that is unfortunate. See, there you go, too. It's like, well, when you have AAA budget, you get AAA shareholder expectations. It's really tough. Sometimes I think back to... I think that we have this tendency, and it makes perfect sense, because this is what any media form does. We have a tendency to evaluate... any new experiences by older experiences that we have, right? It's like one of the only points of references that we have. And I think sometimes we kind of take gameplay experiences that have already existed as like some sort of standard, and we evaluate all gameplay experiences past that point against that standard, which again makes sense. But you know what I think it perhaps doesn't acknowledge as much is that sometimes I feel like we get games that exist, you know, as they were released, that like it's like a miracle that we got this game. Like I think of like the Mass Effect trilogy, right? Like obviously Mass Effect has its issues or whatever, and like the endings and Mass Effect 3 and blah blah blah. But the fact that you got this like cogent story that like plays well enough and kind of creates this feeling of this epic trilogy, this epic story, like it's like a miracle that we even got this to begin with. You know what I mean? So to imagine it as some sort of like standards, like, yeah, all games should be this good. It's like, should they? Because like the fact that this one was this good, and of course this, I'm just using Mass Effect as an example. There's a million things, so many games that would fit this. It feels like when a developer manages to make like just having, okay, how do I explain this without my brain going a million miles a minute? Having spent so much time now immersed in the world of actual game development rather than game consumption, it is amazing to me. And this applies to film, it applies to books, it applies to anything, right? The fact that we get what we got is just like a miracle unto itself, right? I don't know. This is a weird point. Hopefully what I'm saying kind of tracks or makes sense. Ring said, how long do you plan on streaming? I will be streaming for about another half an hour. If that fits, Ring. Hello. Are you trying to kill him? Don't do that. Hey, I was going to save him. Alright, let's try some first-person combat. Oh, who did that? Ooh, I like that animation. Oh, that feels great. Ow, I'm dead. That bit. My spine has been injured. Wow, this, like, I don't know what's happening with the animations. Or, like, it's like a... The sheathing, unsheathing animation. It keeps moving my, my camera. Oh, yeah, milk toasting. It's like, I think I hated it because I didn't think it was a satisfying ending. Which, makes sense. It's like... You guys ever watched Marcella? Liz and I just finished watching Marcella. Spoilers for Marcella. Soft spoilers for Marcella. Yeah, exactly. Milk toasting, where it's like all of the experience. I think people are so invested that having an ending that didn't feel satisfying just really fucked with people, which I completely understand. I think where people have kind of come around to is that actually Mass Effect 3 is really solid. Like, you're having a lot of fun throughout the entire game, and that helps a lot, right? Didn't they, like, change the ending or something like that? Like, having a fucked up ending really can... Oh, that's a bear. Really can mess with your enjoyment. But on the whole, it's just the fact that we even, like, got that game, like, everything it was all the way through to begin with is pretty nuts. Oh, this is going to kill me if I don't turn on... Should I try and kill it without God mode? I'm probably going to die. Yep. Told you. Ouchie. Yes, I do have a hit stop plot. All right, well, how about this? If we're gonna test these animations in earnest, I'm gonna turn on God mode. Could it be load order related? The unsheath animation break. I think it could be derpiest. It could be a million different things. I would have to legitimately test it. I would have to do my testing process, my infamous testing process, which is basically just isolate it, let it run by itself without anything else, see if the issue persists. If it does, then something else even weirder is going on, but typically it doesn't. And then you can kind of slowly add stuff back in until you have isolated the issue. Also, I can see that murlocking, like... Oh, whoa. It's like he sat down for a second. Twice. With the hit... Oh, also I can't attack now, but I'm running in place somehow. This is another thing. I feel like it's my inputs are getting, like, eaten and made into... like, I'm not running right now. I got hands free. Somehow it turned on the auto walk, which, like, I don't even know if I have that bound, but, like, that like, I can't click. Like, I can't swipe my weapon or block. And, yeah, like, hitting right click is causing me to auto run. So something is fucky here. And, like, I've not experienced any of this at all until I added these mods in. Not the trees, but the first-person animations. But I was going to say that the hit stop feels almost superfluous, maybe. Also, why is this sword all the way down? Oh, it's one of these. Can I can't swing. What the hell? Right-clicking is, like, making me, like, back up a little bit now. What is happening here? Oh. What the French toast? I mean, it could be hotkeys overlapping, but there's no hotkeys. I mean, not to where I would not be able to, like, swing and attack and stuff. I have no idea what's happening there. I feel like it's, this first-person mod. Reset eye equip. Maybe. I don't think it's eye equip, though. Or I'd be surprised if it were. Let's see. Eye equip. I bet you know what? I don't think it's the ragdoll mod either. It shouldn't be. Oh, and left clicking is making me back up as well. Very odd. Yeah, I mean, I could just reload the whole game. Oh, thank you, Johnny. Yeah, this is fucking beautiful, is it not? Well, alright. I don't know what the hell. Nicholas, so that would be, for new cooking and alchemy system, that would be, look to what Complete Alchemy and Cooking Overhaul does, because that's probably going to be the basis of it. And I'll probably kind of expand on top of that. I would like to, I personally love cooking so much, right? Or love the concept of cooking. I'm not a great cook. I'm okay. And I just love the idea of food mattering more. But Complete Alchemy and Cooking Overhaul, I plan on just using a lot of how it does things. Excuse me, because I also love Cryptoper's mods. And it has a cool cooking system. I'm still trying to see about adjusting our method of skill experience gain. And like gaining perks to individualize perks, right? So they only like work for, like, you only get like one-handed perks if you are working on the one-handed tree, that kind of thing. The method of doing that is going to determine kind of how I expand on like stuff like CACO. If like, because you could say like cooking, right? Like maybe I can integrate that into like its own tree or whatever. So a lot of it's just too early to say, but it's too early to say the exact implementation. But it's fair to say that this is a huge area of interest for me and something that I will tackle with a relatively high priority. Thank you very much for the follow. Who is this? Why is it not showing up in my overlay? Stream elements. Everything is fucky today, it seems. I don't know about this, man. Like, I don't know if it's... I have enhanced ragdoll accuracy. I wanted to play with that. And this first-person combat animations does not have a plugin, so there's nothing weird there. Who knows? Of course, Nicholas. There's so much. I've said this before. I'll say it again. The Transition Special Edition is just so exciting for like a million different reasons. But one of the biggest reasons is that there's so many things. There's so many things that we can add on top of what we already have. Like, the sky is the limit. There's so many cool gameplay mods, so many cool systems, so many enhancements of existing systems. It's why I still think Ultimate Skyrim is exciting to work on, because I think that it is a way, I said this earlier, it's a way to create an experience that just is unlike anything else out there. Like, just anywhere in games, not just in Skyrim modding. I just think that we can create like a world to exist in here with a level of detail and like gameplay and interaction that is not anywhere else out there, at least not in this specific form, right? Like, there are just so many games that are inspirational, doing elements of stuff that I would like to do, but nothing quite packaged in this way. I don't know. And it's exciting to me. I think that it's like, at least for me personally, my priority as a game developer is to like push the envelope of what kind of experiences are being made. You know, I think that this is like and what I mean by that is just like filling a gap. I think that people make almost anything to fill a gap. It is not just games. It's not just media even. It's inventions. It's anything. I think anyone who creates stuff, it's like you want a thing that is a certain way, and there's nothing, maybe there's a bunch of stuff out there that's close, or there's things out there that are close but they don't quite get exactly what you're looking for, and you tried to find something that hits all the notes, and it's not as if you don't enjoy those other things. In fact, you really enjoy them, which is why you want to combine all the different elements or make something specifically that fits the exact specifications in your head, but it just doesn't exist, or it's not out there for you to play or to do. So eventually you get to the point where it's like, I'm going to make this myself, right? And I think it happens with anything. It happens like movies, games, businesses, like whatever it is, you're filling a gap. You're serving a need that you have that was not being met. And if you're trying to turn it into like a business, you are hoping as well that that gap, that experience gap, exists for other people as well. Some you'd love to change, you know, for a fact it's not possible. I mean, there's so many things that I thought were not possible that someone eventually came along and fixed, Nicholas, so I almost don't want to say that anything is impossible. There are some things that are really tough, though. Like, something I would really like to do with all this stuff that we've been doing with grass, right? I like the concept very much of mowing the grass. I've been joking about this on the Wabbajack server for a little bit, but I would really like the ability to mow the grass in Skyrim so that when we reintroduce the build anywhere mechanics, I would be able to like clear grass right from an area and build it out that way. I feel like it's pretty necessary. I don't think we're ever going to be able to do that. Or if we are, I don't think it's something that I could do. Like, I would need to spend the time like learning a bunch of shit to even like have a shot. Maybe I could ask somebody. Maybe it'd be possible. I don't know. But to like save, just from what I know of like how the grass cache is created and stuff like that, I don't know if we'd ever be able to let players mow the grass, so to speak, and have it like persist within their save games. I would like to be able to switch between characters who are within my party, and that's something I would have told you. I will ask Meh Charmbarian. I need to ask him about the perks as well, and like trying to make perks like specific to skill trees. I would really like to swap between characters, and I didn't think that was going to be possible ever. And then now Fenderix just released the what is it called? This Project Proteus, or it's not just released, but he's been working on it and has created a way for you to like literally swap between characters. It still takes a little while, but the fact that it's possible at all is just like crazy, absolutely nuts, like nuts, absolutely nuts. I think was it Ring? Was it you who said this, or Finn? One of you two, where it was like anything is possible. It's just a matter, like you said, one of your bosses said this. I really liked it. Where it was like anything is possible. It's just a matter of, do you have the time required to figure out how it'll be possible, right? So these things that I'm mentioning, you said that, Ring? Okay, cool. I knew one of you said it. It's I think it's true. It's like you could probably figure out how to do most of this stuff if you're really, if like that was what you're only limited by your imagination is another one. Also, I can imagine that being the case, Charmbarian. I'm such a terrible coder in general. It's just a question of time, you know? Everything is a question of time. Everything we do in the world is a question of time. We have a limited time, and it's like, what do we spend it on? is the everyone's pressing question. And it's certainly, you know, when you're a kid, you don't think about it because it feels like you have all the time in the world. And, you know, I'm only 29 years old, going on 30, so it's not as if, at least knock on wood, I don't have a fair amount of time left in my life. But I think when you start to reach my age and you get older, you do start to understand that, like, when you have real world responsibilities, right? You have like a full-time job, you have a relationship, you have friendships, you have, you know, children, things like this. You really start learning when you have less and less time to spend on the kind of stuff that you spent time on when you were young, right? Like when I was a kid, you know, I did sports, which was like a somewhat of a time sink, but that was like about my only real time sink. The rest of my time, I basically just spent playing fucking video games and chasing achievements with my friends on Xbox Live, and just I had a lot of time for like hobbies and stuff, right? And that's obviously not the same when you're an adult. And I think you just start to grow this sense of how finite your time is, and how it doesn't feel infinite anymore. It feels like there's more of an impetus to use your time wisely, you know, and whether that's on hobbies or whatever. I don't know. So it's like when I'm making a game, right? I mean, project management is all about time and prioritization that way, right? So it's like, yes, I can learn probably maybe a method to, I mean, this is where you get to rely on other people and their expertise if they're kind enough to share their time and their own effort with you. It's one of the beauties of the modding scene, is like you guys are all saying, right? Meh321, for those of you who are not familiar, as Monique said, Meh is a wizard. This person is responsible for so many of the things that we thought would never ever be possible with mods that evidently are now, just because Meh and his cohort of friends figured it out, or he figured it out alone. Stuff like being able to have a different skill tree, right? Like through custom skills framework, or like being able to create a grass cache, or just so many different things. So many of the engine fixes, right? So in that case, you can kind of, it's like, it's nice to be able to rely on modders like that, or people like that who are leveraging their specific expertise to create these features, because if any one of us tried it, the time requirements completely different. Let me see here. If you eat keto/carnivore, you can feel and look like a 50-year-old at 75. Oh man, could be. That is really cool, JS Brando. Meant to release YouTube tutorials how to write SKC plugins. I would love to do that, Barian. I would watch them. Okay, let's try these animations. Let's go into God mode. Here we go. Hello, bear. I'm gonna fight you. Yeah. You know, what it is I can't tell if that's the hit stop. Oh no. Yeah, it's like, okay, so the hit stop, like, oh, something, yeah, okay, something's fucky, because it's crashed twice now on, like, the same shit. What if I get rid of this? Like, it does not like something about this. I just feel like it's so wonky, and is it the first? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I don't have that much time left anyway. So I'm going to take that, oh, wait, cancel, and then now I'll have to rerun Nemesis, and let's see if we can replicate that crash. Can I get an F in chat, please? I'm curious now if your DAR log has anything in it. Let's check. My Game Special Edition SKSE. Let's see. Documents. My Games. Skyrim Special Edition. Logs. Not here. Where is it at? My Game Special Edition. Oh. You're talking about the actual install. That would be here in MO2. Where would this log be? My Game Skyrim Special. Was there an SKSE folder there? Am I missing it? Oh, I completely missed this folder. I don't know how I missed it. Wow, look at all these logs. Holy shit. Ultimate Combat. When did I use Ultimate Combat? Dynamic animation replacer, probably. Okay. Actors Bear Project. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Wait, you know what? No, that wasn't a crash. I thought I was thinking of a different crash where it was bear related. Let's see. Let's go fight that bear again. Let's see what happens. Launch, please. I'm stretching. It's important to stretch. Let's stand up for the end of the stream, everybody. What do you think? You want to stretch with me, feel free. If you don't worry about it. Do like a quick rotate. Oh. Do like a stretch this way. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Oh. You guys want to know something super fun? I think I mentioned this on stream. There's a VR game called Blast On that I've been playing a lot lately to get some exercise, quarantine exercise. And it's really fun. It's kind of like dodgeball in a way, right? But it's like 1v1, and instead of like I mean, you do throw some of the weapons, but it's like a shooting game. And it's like kind of esports like there's matchmaking and like a ladder system, and it's a great workout. You basically, it's like two people. It's like you stand on like a 5x5 tower, and then your opponent stands on a 5x5 tower, and you just shoot at each other and try and dodge each other's projectiles until one of you runs out of health. And it might be the most fun I've ever had in VR. I'm kind of a competitive person, and so I really like the competition element. I just like things where it's like I can face off or like spar with an opponent to get better, right? I think there's so much enjoyment in like losing if you're in the right mindset. Sometimes if I'm feeling competitive and like I'm like I gotta do good at this game or else I'm gonna be pissed off, then it's not so much fun. But generally speaking, I like facing off against better opponents. The game is called Blast On 7 Diablos. Come on, I know you can do it. Have I tried martial arts in the real world? Not really, Nicholas. I do have a friend who's been just evangelizing his local jiu-jitsu gym, and he seems like he's having such a good time there. And I would be interested. I'm intimidated by trying something like that, but it sounds really chill. It sounds like they're super cool. And I would be more comfortable trying it once I'm like vaccinated and once the pandemic has kind of subsided a bit. Oh, is this the Havoc physics bug that you guys are talking about? Oh, yeah. Sinister Red. See, I can read backwards. If you use the TS5 edit ESL, pseudo ESL mode, it's very useful for that. I have heard of Kingdom Hearts on PC. I think Finn is very stoked about that. I'm like pretty stoked about it. I don't know if I'm going to spend the time playing it. Maybe I'll play 2 because that one seems the most fun from a gameplay perspective to me. Finn, should I play through the Kingdom Hearts series on PC? Like, God knows there's so many games that I want to play. Here's my question. Am I going to, like, once I finish out the series, am I going to feel like, wow, that was like I feel like and there's really no way you could probably answer this question. Yeah, see, that's what I feel like it was going to be. It's like, am I going to be satisfied by the time requirement and what was delivered as a result? Or am I going to be like, oh, because like it seems like, okay, maybe this is a better way of phrasing. Does the story deliver in a satisfying way? Is this going to be like a Game of Thrones or like a Lost situation where, like you get super invested and they're constantly breadcrumbing out these very interesting, like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, what's this secret illusion? Like, what's gonna happen with this character or whatever? And then nothing satisfying kind of gets delivered, or does it do those things and then it delivers something definitively satisfying, or maybe it's just like arguable. It's an opinion, right? I mean, I have no problem watching the cutscenes or anything. Like, I'm there for a good story. Like, I would like it, and I like Disney stuff and blah blah blah. I want to hear Haley Joel Osment be like 40 years old and affecting like a child's accent in 3. It'd be great. Oh, interesting. How about, does Kyrie ever become interesting? Have we talked about this already? Did I already ask you that? Oh, I am standing up. URL. This is my standing desk. Look, I can jump. I don't want to jump too high because we're on the second floor. I don't want to disturb my downstairs neighbors. But standing desk is great, by the way. If any, I mean, it'll definitely hurt your wallet for a little bit, but it's very cool. It's much better for your back. Oh, she doesn't, eh? Welp. Dang. I don't think the Final Fantasy VII characters are bland, but also I've never beaten it. I thought Aerith was cool, and I thought Cloud was pretty cool. She might become awesomer in the future, depending on how... Oh, I think I know some element of that. The director doesn't know how to write women, so he just kind of stuck her in to have a girl TM. Oh, that's a bummer. Wait, it's so funny to me. Like, hopefully this isn't a hot take or whatever, but like, at least at this point in my life, like, female characters are so much more interesting to me than male characters right now. Just because, I don't know, like, I guess, you know what it probably is? It's because, so I've obviously spent my whole life as a man, and I know that experience, or I know my version of that experience, of course, right? I would say, so my wife Liz, like anyone who's ever been married or like in an intimate relationship for a very long time, and like where you're just growing together and living together, like there's obviously been so much about her experience that I've had a window into to see, and that she's, you know, just both what I witnessed just by living life with her every day, but also that she's showed me and shared with me and allowed me to see like elements of what it has been like to be her and to be like a woman in our society and whatever. And it's just, you know, it's like a mind-blowing level of, and maybe not everyone was like this, but it's like, you know, when I was younger, I was like a doofus, toxic masculinity affected person, you know what I mean? Or like, when I say that, I should say like, I don't know, like there's just so many elements of like the what it was like to be like a woman in our world that I just wasn't privy to, you know what I mean? And I think society kind of allows us to do that in a lot of cases without getting super, you know, sociologist about it. It's just there's a lot of ways that the female experience is not really like something that we ever have to consider as men, because we're kind of catered to generally. It's not to say, of course, that men don't experience their own issues or anything like that. Of course they do. Just to say that you know, we are generally more the privileged group in society, I would say. And now, like, having gotten to see so much of my wife's experience and like learn about it in that. And the other thing too is like my mom passed away when I was pretty young, right? And so like I never really got to hear it from her. So maybe it's just like a big gap in like my experiential knowledge, that now that I feel like I've learned so much more and I'm really trying to like tune myself into that experience too. Like, it's so much more interesting to me, like writing or experiencing female characters at the moment. It's like, it's weird to say. I don't know. Yes, J.S. Brando. Oh my God, I can only imagine what it would be like to raise daughters. You know, I imagine it would be like a very, very different, but also very similar experience. Just like the sort of stuff that you now consider that you just never had to think about, like as a dude, you know. Hopefully that's not anything too controversial, hot takes. It's just been my personal experience is all. And I find, and like even with Ultimate Skyrim, right? Like playing as Hjolfred, I thought was so much fun. Just even especially in a world like this, it's like, I mean, you know, Tamriel does not have like the same prejudicial experiences as our world, like directly, but it's a work of fiction, like in some cases kind of science fiction-y. It's obviously a fantasy setting, but it does at least try in some instances to address like the concepts of like income inequality and like gender inequality. And it's a very harsh world, right? So I like kind of having fun with that. Okay, let's see. Oh, wow, well, this is interesting. I am still getting... We ran Nemesis, right? So I'm still getting that weird sheathing animation bug. So there's all kinds of weird shit going on here. Could it be the ragdoll? I'd be pretty surprised. Whoa. And I don't have improved camera on. Ow. Stop it. I blocked you. Stop. Oh. Boom, baby. Uh-oh. Ow. No crashes thus far. Whoa. twice. Come on. Stop. Man, why am I doing like a... It's like when I'm in third person, the standing power attack, it keeps registering it as like me backing up. I don't know, there's some weird shit going on here that I would have to see to. And I'll see to it next week when I'm no longer on vacation, right? Because my brain's going to melt. A good character would be good regardless of gender / race, like whatever. I mean, I suppose so. It's just the... like someone's gender or race or just the elements that affect... If there's an element about yourself that affects what it is like to be you in the world, like, that's a part of your character, you know what I mean? With Hjolfred, you just popped a potion before that dragon breath came in. I mean, I know. I think about it a million times. All the time, Witchell. I think it was the natural endpoint for me, too. Just because, like I'm sure I could have found a way to, like, continue it. Or, like, there are other times in that series, right, where I, like, fudged death. So I could have done it again. It just, where I was at in terms of development and, like, the... That's so weird. Why is that happening? What I needed in terms of time to like do the development that I still had remaining was pretty significant, and I was just kind of burnt out, I would say, on like the content. Maybe Hjolfred can make another appearance. Maybe we'll play another character. Maybe good characters are compelling, either independent of or inherently tied to their gender. I could feel that, Ashcloud Phoenix. It's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be about any of that stuff. But it can be, it's just like a fun set of tools and interactions, I suppose. For me, like, character writing is all about, like, you create a character, you imagine who they are at that point based on the experiences that they've had, and then you kind of nudge them into further experiences, right? And imagine how those new experiences will affect them. And under the umbrella of, like, experiences, like, I think there's definitely stuff there where it's like, well, sometimes people are treated differently because of their race or their gender or their any number of things, really. And sometimes not. So it can be both. Both or either. I'm glad you feel that way, Witchell. Oh, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Let's just, I mean, I only have, oh my god, it's already 3 o'clock. Okay, let's run through the forest really fast so we can look at how beautiful it is. What do you guys think? Are you into the trees? I think they're really cool. Again, it's going to take some work to package them in a way that we are allowed to distribute. But I think it's worth it because the combo of, like, these grasses and, like, the tree, like, this is the kind of forest that, at least personally, I hoped for Skyrim. But that's just me, you know? Sacrolettes, you talking about the trees for the gameplay? Like the cold regions use the 3D trees models. I feel you, Derpius. I mean, if I learn how to remove one model or replace it, I guess in theory I could do it for other places. It's like, I love this shit. I think that it does affect, like, the foliage affects gameplay insofar as it makes, what's it called? Traveling in the woods a bit more dangerous or difficult because the animals are, like, legitimately covered up by the underbrush. I just think it's just, like, the effect on my, like, personal immersion is significant. It just feels so much more like a real forest, you know what I mean? Same compliment going with Jedi, Skyrim 3D trees, custom make Falkreath. Nice! Jedi trees have more nav mesh problems than most. Is that so, Charmbarian? Like, which elements? Like, you're talking about trees that just aren't nav cut properly? Hey. Huh. I love this model. I think this is from 3D Trees. You're using Wine Dave's Trees add-on. I am not. I'm using, which was what other thing I was talking about? So right now I'm using Enhanced Landscapes. Which might, I mean, I don't really know how the nav meshes work. That's not my area of expertise at all. It's like my understanding is that if the models are nav cut, then it'll automatically, fit within the nav mesh. But I understand that's different than like adding a bunch of objects that the nav mesh still can't account for. Oh, hello. Hello. I'm assuming you summoned this zombie lady. No, please don't. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. Yep. Oops. Not a stoked for realism. The character should have a realistic experience in running through that dense. As long as it's not in my face like this. This, unconscionable to me. I don't care how realistic it is. It just bothers me. It feels like I'm wanting to like go like this, and ugh, not a fan. So finding a way to bring down the general size of this foliage will be a priority for me. It's like that's where realism does not trump gameplay by any means. But the rest of it, I really dig. Yeah, I actually have dense Nordic forest. Not on right now, Charmbarian, but that was like the other option that I was using to kind of plop some more trees in. I've used enhanced landscapes in the past, and that's why I'm kind of messing with it here, because I do think it's quite nice. I think it adds a lot of cool stuff. But its changes are obviously a lot more... What's the word? The scope of the mod is a lot wider and larger, and that obviously means more problems. The shorter origin for his pat modify also reduce the max height. It's trivial. Patch tiny, just a few records. Nice. I did look at it, so it did. I was surprised actually by how seemingly trivial, at the very least, it would be to reduce the size of stuff. Oh, that's not good about the nav cut. Yes, I would love to be able to cut the foliage with my weapons, or just even like have them move around. That's someone was asking earlier. Was it Nicholas? Like what things I don't think would be possible. It'd be like having the player move apart grass instead of just clipping right through it. I just don't know. It's just so outside my realm of expertise and ability that it's hard for me to say whether or not it would ever be possible. I'm glad, Shepard. Yeah, that shit sucks, Monique. It's like anytime, you have a visual suite that makes it harder for you to see, but the NPCs are not affected by the same. It's like we've been playing Battlefront 2 since it was on free, right? And in the co-op mode, there's like this one map that has a bunch of brush and like bushes, and evidently the enemies can see right through them, and they just shoot you, the AI, and that's pretty frustrating. Oh, excuse me. Wow, that is annoying. I gotta figure out what's doing that. Anyway, it's about that time, everyone. Thank you. Even Marwin has grass bending as you walk through. Really? Well, okay, maybe it's not outside the realm of possibility. I'll need to ask Meh. I've got 2 questions I would like to ask him. 1 is those grass questions, and 2 is about the perks and the specialization for skill trees. Thank you, O'Malley, for the follow. And with that, I will go ahead and conclude the stream. Thank you guys for watching, as always. Yeah, I feel like the bush would be possible. I don't know, though. Maybe if the grass is still... Maybe it's... I don't know. Anything's possible, right? I certainly can't say. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me, as always. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to hop off and get some lunch. Let me see who's online to raid. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope that the changes are amenable to you. And if not, I don't want to hear about it. I accept no feedback, and just leave me alone. I'll go and cry in the corner. Obviously. I don't see anyone streaming right now that I'd be super comfortable raiding. I don't want to hear about it. Double up. So I guess I'll just go ahead and conclude it. I have some friends streaming, but I feel like they'd almost be unnerved by just me suddenly, like raiding their channels. Anyway, I really do appreciate it. You can find me same time next week. You know where to find me in between if you have any messages or feedback or whatever the hell. It's just very, very nice of you to spend your time here with me and with everybody. I really appreciate it. Of course, some buddies of mine are playing blues music. All right, well, there you go. Let's do that. Let's raid them. Shepherd Boy. Say raid. What's their Wait, Ring. Yeah, sorry. Ring had something earlier that he said about the raid. What is it? Ring, what would you like me to do? Thanks, AshCloud Phoenix. Make me dinner. Oh, yeah. CT. Hold on. Is he online? Right? Is she online right now? Let's see here. Okay. Of course. Of course, of course. Thank you all for sticking around. I really appreciate it. If you guys are not familiar with CT, she is also a Skyrim streamer. I'm pretty sure heavily modded, right, Ring? If I'm not mistaken, right? Heavily modded Skyrim, so a good person to follow. And I will go ahead and initiate the raid. So again, thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. Is she playing Old Sky? Oh, that's awesome. Well, there we go. So it's like a real continuation. All right, cool. I will initiate the raid and see you guys next week at the same time. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a lovely week. Gotcha. Well, is she playing your mod list by chance? That would be very cool. Ring has his own. What is the full title of your mod list, Ring, for Morrowind? We'll plug that really fast. Whatever. We can plug it on CT's stream as well. All right, everybody. I will see you next week at the same time. Goodbye.
Finally.